not system is something which is very complex, but it is daily steps. Yeah, this is daily steps that you have to undertake to achieve your goal, to achieve your written goal. And Pastor Sunday wanted us to show you routines that he has, that he lives, as examples. How he achieves his goals. Можно отмотать на несколько слайдов? Я скажу, когда хватит. Назад, назад, назад. Вот первый должен, да? Да, вот это. Вот это. Okay, so this is in Russian, but I will interpret. No worries. So this is example of Pastor Sunday's schedule from 1st to 6th of November.
Which November?
Oh, sorry, no. From November till December. Yeah, for November. This is no, not this year.
Okay.
Like standard.
Okay.
Standard. Or maybe even very similar to this. Anyway, this is just an example. He has a lot of different schedules, and we will look at 7 of them. So this is schedule of Pastor Sunday on November. So from 1st to 6th of November, he has solitude. 7th of November, he has anointing service. From 8th to 11th of November, he has seminars, HMT for English-speaking people. 11th of November, meeting with pastors from Kiev. 11th till 14th of November, HMT again. 17th of November, meeting with speakers of leadership school. 18th of November, meeting with regional pastors. 19th to 20th of November, apostolic council. 22nd of November, home group. Then 25th till 28th of November, men's HMT. 29th of November, 4th of December, pastoral school. Then 29th of November, 30th of November, and 1st of December, pastor has home groups. So this is one of the examples. And you know, this is a schedule which was real, which was taken from real life. Can we go to next slide? На следующий слайд мы можем перейти? And this is how Pastor Sunday's day look like. From 6 to 8, he has prayer, Bible study. Bathroom, he has it before or after prayer. Then between 8 and 10, he has fellowship with Pastor Bose, house, you know, something around house. Maybe he says that we can change it with prayer. He drinks water and juice in between of these stages. Then from 10 to 11, phone calls, giving and controlling tasks, checking email, reading news. Then from 11 till 12, he has gym. Then between 12 and 12:30, he has shower. Then 12:30 to 13, he has breakfast. 13 till 16, he has work at the office. In between, he has snacks. From 4 till 6 p.m., he has rest, fellowship with children, and self-education. If it is possible, he sleeps for 1 hour. From 7 till 9 p.m., he is helping around the house, has fellowship with children, helps wife, and do some small job. From 9 till 11 p.m., fellowship with foreign centers, biblical schools. He is controlling and monitoring different tasks make conference calls. Between 11 and 1 a.m., 11 p.m. and 1 a.m. he has rest and self-education. Between 2 o'clock till 6 o'clock he has sleep. Следующий slide. Sorry?
4 hours sleep.
Yeah, 4 hours sleep usually. Because he has 1 hour nap during the day. Можно на минутку на предыдущий? So this is his schedule when he works at home. Следующий. And this is his schedule when he goes to office, to the church office. So from 6 to 8 prayer, then from 8 to 10 fellowship with Pastor Voice, then in between he drink juice and water, then between 10 and 11 he makes phone calls, then gym, shower, breakfast, then between 3 and 4 and 2:30 he travels to the office. Between 2:30 and 9 p.m. he works at the office. He has meetings, writes letters, meet people. Then between 21 and 22 he travels home. Then he has fellowship with his wife and self-education. At from 1 to 6 or from 2 to 6 he has sleep. Следующий. This is the day of Pastor Sunday when he has HMT. From 6 to 8 he has prayer. From 8:30 till 1 o'clock he has HMT. From 1 o'clock till 1:30 he has dinner. Then between 1:30 till 4 p.m. he has rest and self-education. Between 4 and 5 he has sleep. Then between 5 till 6 or till 8 p.m. he does self-education, fellowship with family, and do some office work. And then he has meetings with speakers or participants. Between 8 till 8:30 he is preparing for evening session, and between 8:30 and 23 o'clock he has HMT. Between 23 and 1 a.m. he has rest and self-education, and between 2 and 6 he has sleep. This is HMT schedule. Следующий. This is another option, work at the office and preaching. For example, when Pastor Sunday goes to the church to preach or to have home groups, to conduct home groups. So I will not tell you this because you see this is time. I will just tell you this. So this is prayer, Bible, hygiene, fellowship with wife, things around house, drinking water, phone calls, gym, shower, breakfast, traveling to the office, work at the office with Russian and English secretaries, urgent and special meetings. Then he has teaching on home group or leadership school. Then travels home, and then has rest, fellowship with wife, and sleep. Next. Следующий. Yes.
Can I ask a question? He says when he's driving home, he's still working.
Yes.
How does that work? Is he listening to audio CD? Is he writing, or is it because somebody is driving him so he has a free hands to work? What does he do?
Yeah, he has a free hands to work, and usually he either replies letters, or maybe somebody reads a book, or he has meeting with someone during his travel time.
So the meeting that means there's somebody in the car?
Yeah, somebody is in the car. Somebody who's waiting for.
Always somebody in the car.
Yeah, Pastor Sunday always has somebody in the car, And either it is someone who wanted to meet him, and he spends 1 hour with him, and Pastor Sunday has meeting with him, and does some consultancy to these people. Or he has his secretaries, and Pastor Sunday works with his secretaries. Maybe somebody reads a book to him. Yes?
Yeah.
Do you read a book in the car?
Editing book.
Yeah.
Writing, so they will read it, and then you edit the book within the 1 hour.
Yeah. So 2 hours a day extra when he travels, he works.
Can I ask in that way, for those of us that are not privileged to have the luxury of somebody driving, how do you think we can maximize our drive time? I'm asking because you've been to Milton Keynes. I drive 1 hour to work, 1 hour back. So that's 2 hours of my day that's wasted.
Yeah, this is self-education by default. I mean, I used to put on audio books and different things that, different seminars. That's what I listen. Sometimes I watch. So this is mostly self-education. Or if you use hands-free, this is kind of option, like to call maybe relatives, talk to your wife, maybe talk to your children on the phone when if it is possible. When yeah, the most common is audiobook or Bible, MP3 Bible. And this is
Have a secretary, you can give it or some assignments to secretary. You can plan your day with the office.
yeah. Or you can also work with your brain and make some plans, and you can use voice. You can use voice recorder, to write different to record different assignments to a secretary, and then just send the audio file. Or you can, if you are writing a book, or if if you are preparing a speech, you can record your speech on the voice recorder, and then work with it later at the office. So your brain can actually work while you are driving and your hands are busy. Yeah, so all of this, it testifies that Pastor Sunday maximizes his time, and in every day, in every kind of the schedule, you will see that Pastor Sunday has special time dedicated to achievement of his goal. So either it is leadership, like growing up leaders, or self-education, or writing a book, or church growth. So something that is always connected to his goals. And your routines this topic is very similar to what Pastor Alena Dobrovolskaya taught you yesterday. You've done this homework, right? You have listed your routines and everything, and you have seen what are your life's priorities. And when you look at your routines, I mean, when you write down your routines properly, in these routines you can predetermine achievement of your goals. So if you plan every Sunday, or let's say every Monday, 2 hours every Monday, work with leaders, then you will definitely grow your leadership potential in the church. Здравствуйте. Не, мы уже... Пастор, уже все, уже нормально.
Yes, how are you all doing today?
Тушите. Да? Okay. So when you plan your routines properly, you will be confident enough that you will achieve your goals. And as Pastor Alena Dobrovolskaya taught you, that when you first analyze your present routines, you will understand your life values. And when you have new life values, or when you have specific life goals that you cannot find in your routines, that it means that you have to change your routines. First, you do the snapshot of your day, week, and months. That's what you have done yesterday or today. And the second thing is that you prioritize. You have your goals, and you see if this goal has high priority for me, then this priority has to be reflected in my routines. It means that specific amount of time has to be reflected in your routines. And if this is a big goal, at least it has to take minimum 1/3 or half of your time when you are very productive, and you design this time, dedicate this time to make these routines regular, and these routines has to include some activities that will take you to the goal. So this is it. This is Apostolic Council. Можно следующий. And option number 6, preaching on Sunday. Basically during anointing service, like we had last Sunday. So again, this is prayer, Bible, work to the church, travel to the church, office, and office work. Then this is a bit old. We had first service, then dinner and meeting with people, then second service, then meeting with people, traveling home, fellowship with children and wife, rest, self-education, and then sleep. So, можно следующий. Следующий. Окей, все, тогда. Okay, so this was an example of Pastor Sunday's routines, and you can take the charts that you did for snapshot of your day when you did assignment for Pastor Alena Dobrovolskaya, or I can send you the table, just the template for you to make your routines. This is very simple. Day of week. So here you have weekday, and here you have time. And this is Excel table, and you put in every day like prayer, like travel, office, and so on. So you fill in this table. You can do it for next few weeks, or you can do 6 standard or 2 standard tables where you know that like in regular week, this is my routines. When I'm traveling, or when I do conference, or when I do these different events, this is my routine. So you can design it, and it's better to follow routines, because routines, they will take you to your goals. That's it.
Thank you. Who asked the question again yesterday? 2 days ago? No, he doesn't remember, he did. No response from his side.
Don't you mind if I open this door to make more air?
Somebody was answering us, but although I think it would have been clear if we had that in English language and in Russian, but we don't know as much as we can.
My question was, who asked it?
All right, thank you.
Okay. I just had that answer now. All right, so how was your day? Okay, how are you all doing? Good. Okay, here I am for you. When are we finishing? Tomorrow is the end of the program? When are we finishing?
I guess we will come back around 5 or 6 p.m.
So are we having any evening meeting tomorrow? Or no?
Well, it would be good.
Some guests will be there because most of them will
Most of
meet
them will be
on
still here.
Saturday.
Yes.
So tomorrow we have a invitation center and evening is free.
No, not revelations of that. Refugees.
Refugees, sorry.
And
What about the children? Children
Children.
center.
And children.
Okay. So maybe in the afternoon or evening we could meet after that. Because someone still asked a question how to restore, how to retain all these things. And they get back home. So maybe I was thinking maybe tomorrow. Anyway, so any question? If you don't have question, then I will have questions.
Yeah, there is a question.
Good evening, and I hope you've had a good day.
Sorry, I've had yeah, in court.
I hope you've had a good day.
Yes, yes.
There was a question I asked that was a slide. You said you were going to try and make time to prepare on how to make sure the fire does not extinguish when we go back.
That was I just said.
Yes, that was what I said. Yes, you just mentioned it. But for some of us, we are not going to be around in the evening tomorrow. So I wonder if we can get it maybe by email.
Maybe now, if you want. Or you have questions now. It's like nobody has questions now.
I'm sure we do. People are just probably percolating and forming it.
Who was the slide that you got over there? It's a PDF slide, I told you that. So what do we do?
I don't think we should go to that. Why then we will have questions.
You will not have questions after that. it will be so long that you will not have questions after that. That will be the only thing you have to do.
We can talk about our experience today.
Yeah, I wanted to hear about your experience, not just today, but for all the other seminars you've had, other teachings you've had. Is it from Tuesday or from Monday you'll be having teachings?
Tuesday.
So you want to start from today? Today is fresh in your mind. Okay, what is it that you are particularly impressed with?
The pastor that shared today.
Anton.
Yes. He really painted a picture that's just like stuck in, and I relate with pictures about the system of a church from starting a church. He gave us a very good picture, vivid picture, and it makes it. I feel like it's possible for me.
So it's no more a mystery.
No, so it's not a mystery. He showed us, how you will get people by solving their problems and the three different arms of it. The rehabilitation arm.
Did you have his presentation, Paulina? Did you have Pastor Anton's presentation in English?
He didn't have a presentation, like slides.
He didn't have slides. Okay. No, he just drew it on the board.
Okay.
He just drew it on the board.
Am I the only one thinking so? Anybody else notice?
That's pretty good.
You are preaching?
I was supposed to preach.
Oh.
Okay, so.
Oh, maybe you people only notice the ladies. Maybe you only notice the ladies when they dress well, huh? Oh, they don't notice the ladies also. I'm sorry, Pastor.
Yeah, no problem, sir. He showed us how really you go about getting people.
Parents, you want to come around here or you want to stay out by?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Where is your? You say want to take any notes or anything? You don't have anything?
Well, so he had Matthew 28:19 and 20, right? Like as the goal, you know, and we could see that go and make disciples of all nations.
Значит, надо почаще приглашать его, и надо ему сказать сделать слайд. Хотя бы по-русски. Yes, please.
Yeah, so he shared the different arms, but one thing he said that was very, very good was start in the area of your gifting. Don't try to be, what the passion God has placed in you, the grace that God has put in you, start right there. He said for him, as an ex-drug addict, his own area was...
I believe that he's an ex-drug addict?
And he's the regional pastor.
Yeah, he's not just a regional pastor, he's an apostle. He's actually in my top apostolic council. So that means he has over 20 churches under him.
Wow.
That he has started.
You could see that. You could see the passion in him even as he was talking. So start in your area of gifting. And he said for him, the rehabilitation center was his own. That's where he came out of. And he was able to build that strong. And so it was just good for us to hear. Yeah, and so seeing the system, seeing the steps that needs to be in place takes the mystique out of it for me and say it is possible, I can do it.
Was it the only one you had today? Oksana. Okay, it's just like saying Asana. If you can go with Asana, yeah, so you can say Oksana.
I love her.
Yeah.
You want to take her home? Tell me about her. What did she touch you with?
She touched on...
What did you touch? What did she impress you with?
Her convictions on why she does what she does is real, is what the gospel is the true gospel. It's not about, impressing people or making a church grow. And it's not about keeping...
She's also in my apostolic council, so which means she has over 20 churches she has started as well. No, she started 20 churches in the last 1 year, or 40 churches. She didn't tell you? She started 40 churches in the last 1 year. 40 churches, yeah. In the last 1 year. Yeah, the lady. 40. Yeah, that's just in the last 1 year.
It was about how she was talking about sacrifice and how she pushes people she trains them and she pushes them to go out in the mission field. And it's just the value that she's instilled in the people, which are the right values, which is about sacrificing and helping others instead of, just having church and meeting.
Why do you want to take her with you?
Oh, because I could still learn a lot from her. A lot. I could see she has a woman of character. And she has great character and values. And I could see how she could influence people just by talking. And
how did you understand her today?
How did I understand her today? Expand on the question. I don't know what you mean. Huh? She's the real deal.
She spoke English?
No.
So how did
she had an interpreter. She had an interpreter.
Who was the interpreter?
Gotcha.
So did you understand what the interpreter was saying, or more than what the interpreter was saying?
Yes, it was perfect.
Well, I will come again with the question. I will repeat the question again. Did you understand her just by what the interpreter was saying?
No.
Or more than that?
More than that. Because even though I don't know Russian, her passion was so strong and her convictions were so strong that my spirit felt what she was saying, along with her mannerisms and her whole persona. It was like in a spoken language. I can't explain it.
Yep. In what ways would you like to emulate her?
she's sold out for Christ completely. She's completely sold out in every area of. She knows, you know, she knows she's sold out. She knows what she's doing. Her relationship with Christ and is transferred on to others. She gives to others what she knows. There's so many things. And the fact that she says she doesn't care what people say, because I don't know who was the one that mentioned about the woman's being sort of like, yeah, like put in the back burner. She says, you know what, I don't care. You know, she gave a perfect example of the first person that saw Jesus when he resurrected, which is Mary Magdalene. And she says, I really don't care what people say. I'm going to say what God asked me to say, do what he wants me to say. And that to me is just conviction.
What are those convictions you noticed? What are you wanted to begin to mention them? That's just one.
Well, the convictions to me, because it's something that I knew. And, wow.
Did she tell you some of her stories? Experience?
She just.
About how the husband's a missionary.
Yeah, yeah.
And his son as well.
What was the topic she spoke on?
What topic you spoke on? At first it was about raising leaders in the church and raising people on teams. And then she started preaching. She started preaching. She just went. Holy Spirit really took over that whole session, and it pretty much just laid out the whole gospel of God and what it's supposed to be about.
What do you think she could contribute to what you are doing in England?
Okay.
Oh, gosh.
Well, I've been in England 3 years, and when I came to England, I was on fire for Christ. I was sold out completely, not fanatical, but I was on fire. You know, I had the deposit in me the right gospel of Christ and what it's really about. And I've been in England for 3 years, and I can say that compared to how I was, I've grown cold. And I know it, and it's hit me really hard today. I know it. I didn't realize how much an environment can affect everything that God deposits inside of you. I didn't know that it could actually affect what God has deposited in you. So I was like blind, just, you know, I'm going to church and not realizing that everything that I'm hearing, everything that I'm experiencing, with the people that I'm surrounding myself with, even though I'm, you know, in a different culture, I just put it to it's a different culture. Maybe I don't understand because I'm American. I don't understand what, you know, the culture is. So I kind of conform to what I think, you know, is the word. I'm hearing the word. And it's had, somewhere along the way, I have to say, I didn't lose the gospel. I just put it in a shelf because I was conforming to where I was being.
I guess I will ask that question again. So what do you think she could contribute? How could she complement you in England?
I think that
What she has, what are the things she has that you think could be a blessing to you people in England?
well, she has a insight, true insight, truth.
So you could see that, you know, the kind of thing I was talking about yesterday too. Is it a good idea that apart from Pastor Sunday, you get to meet just ordinary other people?
Yes.
So you know it's not just about Pastor Sunday. Is that a good idea that you are all these people are coming to you?
That would be awesome.
that you people got to meet them.
Yes.
Okay, who is next in line?
I can speak.
Well, it's your time to speak now.
Oh,
You wanted to preach, right? So you didn't wear that suit here. You didn't wear it in vain. Yeah, it's not in vain now.
Actually, I'm going to the Bible. You see, this day was was another great day. As you mentioned, it's a display, and then I shared that with someone.
Display
A display of
what?
the great work that you have done. So what I'm saying,
Where did you see that display?
through the people. So now I'm going to explain. Because I'm referring to the verse here, and then talking about David. They say that he had men that were armed with bow and could use both the right hand and the left hand in hurling stone and shooting arrows out of the bow, and they were like mighty men. So that's what I saw displayed throughout the week. But today, it just hit my head. I'm like, wait a minute. All those people, we didn't see you, but I'm seeing all those people coming and being like mighty people on the field. Whatever they were doing, they master it and they use it, the system. And as they're doing that, we can see the fruit of it. So that was like encouraging me, like. And then at some point when the pastor showed how to plant the church, it seems so easy. Like there's a need, you feel the need, and then you go through the system. And with that system in place, that makes things easy and everybody can do it. You find you get to know yourself, you get to know what are your talents. Once you get that, now that you know yourself, now you can go ahead and help the others. And this is just, make me okay. We don't even need Pastor Sunday because those people,
Now, do you now understand when I say I have 40 services every Sunday in Kiev and I just sit at home? Because every one of them is leading a congregation, so I'm not really needed. Not over Ukraine, but just in the capital city. I don't need to go and make a statement or compete. They're doing a good job, and that's a success on its own that you could have the people attached to their pastors rather than to one man.
Yeah. So that's something that I'm taking. I'm like, this is exactly what, the duplication Jesus did in his apostle. He duplicated himself into him, and then he didn't have to be that. It's the same spirit. So we can read her, we can say that she's passionate. And she was saying that she sacrificed and, she gave 4 qualities that her leaders have to have before they join the team. And she spoke about the zeal, which was the last thing. She spoke about the talent. She mentioned the active, and then the passion.
No teachable.
She didn't mention anything like, they need to pay allegiance to Pastor Sunday or pay allegiance to me. So it was all about the character. Once you have those 4 characters, no matter what's your background, no matter who you are, it's only if you're able to work on those 4 aspects in your life, then you can join a team. And all that
You mean that in some other places, maybe, or ministries, allegiance to the man?
Oh yeah, you have to pay allegiance to the man of God. Saying you have to say
to the man of God.
Because you have to say that this is your vision, and I agree. I'm going to walk under your vision, and I'm not going to turn from the left of the right.
Oh, okay.
You see what I mean? So, but what she...
No, we don't have that. Everyone has to have their vision here. Every member has to have their own vision.
And the thing that...
Apart from my vision.
And the great thing that she said, you have your goal. All she needs to know to find is
her
own niche in your goal,
yeah.
So that she can reach it. Which, something that is rarely, we hear that not every day we hear that. So that really strike me in terms of there's a room for everybody, and that everyone can do it. And then I ask a question like, how do we enroll with the missionary? Is it the door is open for everybody? She said yes, because I'm making my plan in my head, so I'll leave it like that.
So she didn't tell you how many churches she has opened recently?
No, we didn't focus on that. She more so focused on what she would require people to enter into her
I
group.
think she has opened 40 churches just this last year.
Yeah, I guess you didn't want to talk about fruit.
Was my probing too hard for you? Is that okay? You coped?
Pardon?
Did you cope?
Just one quick comment about Pastor Hassana. We had a collective sigh when she kept talking about how she gave them the boot at one point to go, now you need to go and start something. There was a collective sigh amongst us because most of us are coming from traditions where we've never heard something like, okay, now go and get something started.
Yeah, because otherwise you'll be carried away by the system of the world, getting you just to go to work and living for survival rather than living to please the master. So kingdom will be lost. Even though you still come into church, but you'll be living for the mundane things of life, like going to work, salary and things. You will not know when you've lost it.
Yeah.
And you still call yourself a Christian because you are in the environment, but you are not living for heaven. You are not. You don't belong to him. He doesn't owe you. Yeah. So sometimes you need to help people.
So
in my book, Church Shift, I wrote there that my challenge is to help get rid of as many people as possible every year. As a pastor, that is the number one priority of any pastor. Get rid of them from their pews. Yeah, empty the pews.
And she said, when she said that, I don't know, she had understood what that meant to us who were coming from traditions where we rarely see that. And,
no, leave that thing. You are cold.
No, she's cold. So
who said?
I saw her doing like this.
Who did? Who did you say?
I saw her putting this.
Well, she never told you about that. Yeah. That was kind of you, but maybe we are not cold. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, so we appreciate it. We talked about it. That that is something that's rare in our traditions, where you are now encouraged. Now, after you learn this, now you need to go and get something started. And we told how much we appreciated hearing that, and how we also probably need to be change agents where we're coming from, to be able to at least change some things to see that kind of effect in our churches.
You didn't say anything about what you admire in her. Is it just a ladies thing? Only ladies admire her? You are not interested.
No, I'm not. I'm after what she's giving, what she's presenting.
You see? You just hear that?
Yeah.
He was not impressed. Does that surprise you?
It really seriously, you wasn't.
Give her the microphone.
You wasn't impressed.
Give her the microphone.
Okay. I have to share now the reality of how that her impacted me based on my past. And I have to share because if I don't share, then I'm never going to get over this fear. She is the reason why I'm serving the Lord. People like her is the reason why I'm serving the Lord today. I'm not African, but I come from a very legalistic background, Pentecostal. My dad was a pastor.
Pentecostal?
Pentecostal. My dad was a pastor, a church planter. So I was always either in the missions field or building a church from the floor down. But obviously, there was something missing. It was very legalistic. And so I grew up knowing God, and I grew up knowing the Lord, but I didn't know about his love. I didn't know about his grace, his mercy. I don't know the things that would make me have a relationship with him. So there was a lot of things happening in my home. This is the part that I have a hard time sharing. My mother abandoned us when I was 5 years old.
Maybe the legalist is it the
Legalistic.
legalism
So
that
it's a
changed
lot-
that way?
It's a lot like African, I'm not gonna lie. We have similar music, we have similar,
Is that Hispanic?
yes, Spanish. It's very, very similar. My mom left, and I know that one day we had my mom, my biological mom, and the next thing there was another woman in the house. This is when my dad was first, before he became pastor. And she had a son, and obviously her son was older and started molesting my sister and I. At the age of 12, I decided to run away from my house.
So your mom walked away being a Christian, or she's not?
They were not Christian. My dad was a new believer.
Okay.
He was a new before he became pastor.
So your mother was not born
No,
again?
so I grew up with my stepmom. Now I have a very close. My stepmom is my mom. I love her. Me and her have an amazing relationship.
That's now.
That's now.
But we are talking of before.
But before, no. You know, those are the things that God can do. God can restore relationships, and I'm living testimony of that. Because I have family members that have no idea why they cannot understand why I have a relationship with my stepmom, and I call her my mom, and she's my mom, and I honor her to the end. So I started running away because my philosophy. Then I started creating this philosophy with everything that was happening in the house. My dad was a pastor, but because there was a lot of legalism in it, there was one thing in church, and then behind closed doors there was another thing. So there was a lot of fights and strife, and he was very possessive and jealous, and I grew up in that environment of
Strife
and, everything. Even though we were, on Sunday, we were the pastor's kids, went to church, spent all day in church, every day we went to church, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, there was always a service, but nobody knew what was happening behind closed doors. And at the age of 12, I started running away because I couldn't deal with everything that was happening, and I was starting to grow up. I was already a young lady.
Were you the firstborn?
Pardon?
Were you the first child? The oldest?
I was the oldest from my dad, but my stepmom had a son, which was way older, and a daughter. So we were 5 children, mixing together. And so when I started running away, obviously I started getting caught by the police and brought back home. So I was only 12. In one of those sessions where I ran away, I ended up in one of the persons from church house, and they brought me in, and they had called my parents. And I didn't want to go home because I knew what I was experiencing at home. And so I stabbed my stepmom because she was trying to grab me. And I just stabbed her, and I ran, and and I saw a police officer. I just went with the police officer to the station, and I pressed charges on my stepbrother. And I told him, he's doing this to my sister and I, and they called my parents to the court. My parents were able to see me, and they said, if you don't drop the charges, we're going to put you in a home for children. Because, this is not true. They basically didn't call me a liar, that this was not happening. My sister got confronted. She said no. So I ended up in a home for children at the age of 12 for almost a year. I ran away from there as well. So if you run away from there, kind of like the program gets canceled out, and you have to go back to your parents. You're back in the responsibility of your parents. So to make a long story short, many things happened. I ended up still running away. At 15, I got married. I got married to my friend because I wanted to get out of the house. And
so after the children home, you went back home to your family?
I went back home, but I still kept running away because I already tasted that I could run. I could run from my problems. I didn't have to stay in that situation. And so I was creating this philosophy in my head that God is real. I had such a close relationship with God when I was little. He was the only thing I cannot even describe how close my relationship has ever been with God. Like when I was 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, I could say that it was I have never experienced what I experienced at age. But as I got older and as things happened to me, I started creating my own philosophy, saying, you know what, I think I'm going to go to hell because of the religion, of the legalism. I felt like I wasn't good enough, and because I didn't know about God's love and I didn't know about God's grace.
That's what we spoke about yesterday. That righteous that thou, legalism.
Exactly. And so I really believed that I was going to go to hell. So I decided to just live my life. And so at 15, I started going. I got married. But at the age of 16, my biological mom found me. And when she found me, obviously I left the guy that I had married, and I started going out with her. And then she introduced me to drugs.
Drugs?
Cocaine, alcohol. So at the age of 17, I was going out and partying and going to clubs with my mom, biological mom. And so at the age of 19, I started graduating to more stronger drugs. At the age of 17, almost 18, I became a stripper, an exotic dancer. So I was in that lifestyle. Now I was dealing with making a lot of money, even though it was in prostitution, it was the closest thing you can get to prostitution without having to sleep around with guys, but you're still in that environment. And at the age of 19...
Was your mom doing the same thing?
No. I actually hid it from her, but then eventually I moved out, got my own place, I moved, I was making a lot of money because of it.
What about the guy? He didn't come to look for you?
No. That was, that ended up in a divorce. I was only 15 when I got married. That ended up in a divorce. We had a son, and he went up for adoption at the age
You had a son at what age?
At 16.
So your mom came for you when you were already pregnant, or when you were already having the son?
No, but when I was already married and I already had the son, and I was already in that relationship.
Before she came?
Yes. And because of her, she was a lot of influence for me to leave. Right? She said I was young, that she influenced me, and I sort of kind of went with it. At the age of 19, then I OD'd on heroin because I went to a party and I had all...
Overdosed?
Yes. I overdosed on heroin. I tried it for the first time, and I'm alive. I'm here today for a miracle because I shouldn't be alive. Basically, I was in a party, and I had about 10 drugs in my system, uppers and downers. So my heart obviously went crazy. A guy took me to the back and said...
10?
About 10 drugs, yes. I have the records of the hospital. The guy shut me up, and next thing I know is I woke up in the hospital, and I remember seeing the doctor with the shockers. And a police officer was next to me asking me, like, what's your name? And all I can remember is seeing, like, wah, 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 like everything was crazy. I ended up in ICU, and apparently they had to shock me. I died 3 times on the table. So I don't remember anything. I don't remember seeing a light or anything. I just know that I have the records where they said that they had to use electricity for my heart. Yes, and so I'm alive by a miracle. They had found me. They had dropped me in downtown Florida. They had torn up my shirt. So
what led to that? You said you were doing striping or stripping.
It was a party. So obviously the girls, everybody, whenever you finish the job, you go to different, you go to parties, like after hours parties. And it's just like you have DJs and they have drugs, and then you just dance and do drugs all night. They're parties specifically for that. Yeah. And yeah, they call raves or after hours, and a lot of youth die. A lot. I know a lot of people that were friends that were 15, 16 that died while I was, police had to come and died just using drugs. And so my mom came in with a whole bunch of people from the legalistic church. And
so she's back in church by this time?
No, she wasn't in church, but she had knowledge. She thinks that the church is going to be the one that's going to help. So she had somewhat of a background. So they're going to put me in a rehab. So I escaped the hospital from ICU. I took all my IVs off, and I called my friend to pick me up. And that day I was in a party again doing drugs when I had chronic pneumonia from them pumping my lungs and everything. After that, I moved to Miami. And
so you didn't go to the rehab center?
Not yet. I didn't go to rehab at the time. And you would think, like she said, that that would be a lesson. I just died. Like, I remember my mom say, like, you reek like a dead animal. Like, you smell like a dead animal. I thought you were dying. I think, And I just took my IVs and escaped because I didn't want to go to rehab. And I went out. I moved to Miami at that time, and I went back and worked. And I met
met your husband? Or you met the church people?
I met. I met my ex-husband. At the time, we were partying. He was Jewish, Israeli. And we fell in love. Moved to New York with him. And we got married.
For the second time.
And at this point, I didn't want to know God or anything because I just thought he was a monster. He was ready to punish me. I didn't deserve, I wasn't holy, or I knew how rich I was. And it was him, one day, we were obviously our relationship was very volatile because I was very rebellious and I had a lot of junk, a lot of anger inside of me. And I think I hated everyone, including myself.
And including that husband, huh?
I hated everyone. I hated God. I hated everyone. And so he bribed me to go to church. And I because I'm used to the church.
I thought he was not saved.
He wasn't saved. He heard about the church through people that he knew, and he decided to go.
He thought something good was happening in
Yeah,
church?
because his family is Jewish, so he was his whole family is Jewish, proper Jewish. They have the holidays and.
Yeah, but why church? Why didn't you take him to the synagogue?
No, he got invited. We were having a lot of issues. We were having a lot of problems, and.
So that probably was a lively church, and that things were happening there.
It was a big church, and you remind me a lot of that pastor. It's really fun. I always said since I saw you, I said he's like my pastor.
What's the name of the church?
Brooklyn Tabernacle.
Brooklyn.
Tabernacle.
That's in New York. Simbala.
Yeah.
I know him. Okay. Yeah, he's real guy. Okay.
And we started going to the church. I was pregnant with a daughter. And we started going to the church, and God started dealing with me. I remember going there, and I didn't want to go. I got bribed. I got literally financially bribed. He told me, we're going to take you to a restaurant, this and that. Just go one time with me to church. This is going to fix all of our problems. And so I went, and I was like, I don't want to know about church. I don't know. If you convert, I'm going to leave you. That's it. I'm leaving you.
Who said that?
I said that to him. If you convert.
If you convert to Christianity?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I had so much hatred, so much anger.
But you went to the church.
Yeah, I got bribed to the church. And I used to go to the church. I didn't want nothing to do with this until I was 15 years old. Ever since I left my house, I didn't belong in the church. I felt like I didn't belong there.
And you didn't want him to convert?
I didn't want him to convert because I wanted to carry on living the way that I was living and carrying the stuff that I was carrying. And so when I went there, I remember I heard the choir was singing. And I saw God is love. And what I've never experienced before, God's love. Never experienced it. Pastor's daughter, grew up in church. I knew the Bible since I was 5, 6, 7 years old. I could tell you the Bible backwards, forwards. I used to sing. I used to minister. I used to preach when I was like 10. I used to do all these things, but I didn't understand God's love. And when I went there for the first time in my life, when I heard about how God loves me to come as I am, that it doesn't matter what I've done, it doesn't matter what I did, it doesn't matter how many times I said, to me that was foreign. To me that was foreign. And you would think that it would not be foreign, but it was foreign. And I just I broke down at the sight of God, of his love. And I gave my life again to God, and I started going to church. And God started dealing with me in a way that.
And your husband also gave his life.
Yes. We both did. And he started dealing with, I think, more with me. Because I was the one with the issues. But he was dealing with me in a way that I've never experienced it in my whole entire life. I could not believe, the fact that I was being dealt with, the way that I was, the love from the people, the acceptance from the people. I had a woman that is still till today in my life. She's like my spiritual mom, that she took me under her wing and she pretty much mentored me and taught me everything that I needed to know about who God is, how he really sees me, about his love, about his grace. I started changing. And that seed that was planted in me was good enough to last me till now. Because,
Wow.
Because the enemy tried to steal that from me. He tried to steal it from me. And about 2 years, 3 years that I was going to Brooklyn Tabernacle, God was dealing with me in one certain issue. It was my rebellion. And it was the only thing, it was so embedded in there that I couldn't let it go. I couldn't even pinpoint what it was. But I know that God was dealing with me. And it got to the point where I couldn't hear truth anymore. And then I started hanging out with, obviously I was working in a hair salon as a makeup artist. And I started hanging out with the wrong crowd while I was still going to church. And eventually it led me to going out and kind of pull me away from church. And I ended up with a serious...
And your husband kept on going to church?
He kept on going. And it led me to a serious addiction of crystal meth.
Once again?
Once again. And, but then now I had tasted God, and I knew, see, now I had a different image of who God was, which is really strange. But I fell because I couldn't, it was one thing that I couldn't overcome. And because I couldn't overcome, and because rebellion is a very deep sin, it's hard to receive when you have that sin inside of you.
That's right.
I fell, and I was like that for about 6 to 7, 8 months, and I ended up in a party where I got raped. And I ended up in Bellevue.
Similar to that lady's story, huh?
I got raped and ended up in Bellevue in the psychiatric hospital.
Open what?
Bellevue Psychiatric Hospital in New York.
Why?
Because I had so many drugs in my system and I got raped. So they had to do all this. And so it was there where I called Pastor Simbala, because Pastor Simbala warned me. He sat me in the office and said, if you walk out on your marriage, because I was walking out on the marriage, I was walking out on everything. He says, this is what's going to happen to you. He was like, and I insulted him. I looked at him straight in the face. We yelled at him. He was crying with tears, crying. I've never seen a man cry, telling me, please, Tahara, don't do this. You know, God loves you. God loves you so much. God loves you. He doesn't want, you know. And I said, who do you think you are?
What is story?
That's what my rebellion was like. Who do you think
you have to do TV program about this. You have to do a TV program about it.
And and so what happened was when I found myself in that situation, I lost my voice and I couldn't speak. But when I decided that I was going to call my pastor to tell him that I wanted to go to the rehab. I wanted to go now. I had reached my rock bottom. That's when my voice came back, and it was like a scream from the depth of it was like I couldn't speak. And when I decided in my mind that I was going to do that, it was like this scream came out like from the soul. I can't even describe
Supernatural.
I can't even describe it. And I asked to call the church, Brooklyn Tabernacle, and I spoke to my pastor, and I said, I am ready. I want to go. Please take me. And so I had 2 choices. It was either the Bowery Mission or Teen Challenge, one of those 2. And they decided they were going to put me in the Bowery Mission because it was more open. It was more of the structure that you have Pastor Sunday.
What do you call it?
Huh? Bowery Mission. Bowery.
Okay.
And so, to make a long story short, when I went to the church, they took pictures of me and everything because I don't even know how many pounds I was. I was a skeleton. I was this beautiful girl, you know, before I went wayward. And when I went there, I was like, just like a skeleton, proper skeleton. And so his secretary took pictures of me and says, one day I'm going to use this. because I got really upset. She's like, why are you taking pictures of me? And she was like, one day I'm going to use this picture to say your testimony when you decide to, because I know God is going to do something amazing. And so I went to the bar mission for I was in a rehab for a whole year. And I learned a lot while I was there, and I could say that I was transformed. I could say that the seed was planted in me, but it had not taken roots, because it's like the environment wasn't ready. It was there, but the environment, there was still something off in the environment. I don't know what exactly, there was still something off, but the knowledge was there. And so my ex-husband and I, unfortunately, did not make it. We ended up divorcing. It did not survive. I decided to leave anyways. I decided to leave him anyways. In spite of all the advice, you know, I moved from New York to Florida.
You felt you didn't love him?
I felt like I didn't love him. I felt like I was still growing. I was so immature. I didn't understand a lot of things, and the problems were it felt like they were too big for me. So I had a tendency to run from my problems. I didn't.
Because you were doing that from childhood.
I was doing that from childhood. So
Leona, earlier, you know, we discussed that. What you are not confronting when you are small, that will keep on pursuing you for the rest of your life. You will be using that mode of operation, behavioral mode. You'll keep on escaping from problems instead of you confronting it. And that leads to greater problems.
And so I left, and obviously I moved to my mom's, but the seed was still there. So eventually I met my husband now. I'm married again, and we've been together for eight years.
Where did you meet him?
I met him in a strip club.
What?
In a strip club.
He was not a Christian?
I have backslid again.
And you went back to stripping?
Yes.
Wow. In Miami?
In Florida. And the reason I did that was because Florida.
But not in Miami.
In Central. The reason I did that is because obviously when I moved to the States, he fought for custody of my daughter. So my excuse was that I needed to make enough money to get a lawyer. And so that was my excuse. But that's where I met my husband now. And eventually we got married, and we have two girls. And
But you didn't reveal to your husband you were a Christian?
Not at the beginning. Not at the beginning.
And he didn't have any idea what a Christian is?
No. And the thing is that without realizing.
So how could he meet a girl at a strip club and decide to marry her? Was he on something himself? Was he
Actually, Pastor, yes, he was, because obviously we were doing drugs together.
No.
We were drinking together. We were living the party life together, but that was only very briefly. Okay, we got married, and then I started realizing that I got pregnant with our first child, and I started realizing that I stopped, but he carried on. And then, as the years went by, I realized that he was a full-blown alcoholic. And so the papers were reversed now. Now I was in this relationship. And the only thing that I could think of was that seed that was planted inside of me. I had nowhere else to go. I had nowhere else to turn. I didn't have Pastor Simba near me anymore. I mean, I still talk to him. I still talk to him today. I just saw him in the summer. He still mentors me. He's still like my dad. But at that time, I was like a little, I'm hiding like Eve and Adam, like who am I going to go to? I did this to myself. But the seed was there. And I said, God help me.
Thank God for people who can love at all times, eh? Like that pastor.
And I didn't think, and the thought was there, the condemnation was there, like, now, you messed it up so bad right now. Look at your mess. Like, it was like this voice saying, look at your mess. You think you could go to God now. You left ministry. You left your church, your home church, that's where God had planted. You know, like I had all these thoughts, like you did this, you did that, and I'm not going to hear you now. And I remember sitting in a little church, a really small church in Florida, and just sitting there crying, saying, God, if you can forgive me, just show me that you forgive me. Just show me that you can forgive me. And this woman walked to me and said, I don't know what you've done, and I don't care what you've done, but I just want to let you know that God loves you. And his plan for your life is still his plan for your life. And she started ministering to me. I just couldn't believe it. And I've been serving the Lord ever since 2008, the beginning of 2008, nonstop.
So what happened to your husband?
He's safe now. My husband, he's saved.
How?
Well, I invited him to church. In my life as well. My life has spoken to him as well.
So how did you end up in Europe? Because that happened in Miami.
Yeah, well,
I mean, in Florida.
Well, what happened was the alcoholism got really, really bad. And obviously there was a lot of strife when it comes to alcoholism. And we got into this huge fight, and I kicked him out. And the next thing I know, he was on a plane because obviously he's British. He was living there for 4 years. He had overextended his stay in America. He was in the process of getting his green card to stay. And because I kicked him out, he decided he was so drunk, he got on an airplane and went back to England. And so he couldn't get back in the country because he overextended his stay. He couldn't get back in the country. And I was in America. And so we were apart for 1.5 years.
No. What were you doing?
I was going to church. I was raising my daughters. I was stay-home mom. He would send money, and he will obviously pay for the rent and stuff like that. But we were apart for 1.5 years, and then eventually we got counsel through the pastors in my church that I was going through, and we were able to reconcile. And then I ended up.
So he stopped drinking when he went back to England?
For a little while. For a little while. It started again. He struggled with alcohol. It was until December of last year that
he got saved for real?
He got saved. He got saved when I first started going to this church, to Pastor Gray's church. But we were separated. When I started going to Pastor Gray, I was on my own. I had just gotten to, the first year that I was in England, I was in a women's refuge because he drank and he got very violent. So I ended up in a women's refuge with my daughter, 6 months being in the country.
Women's refuge, that's what? Where is that? That's where they take ladies that are abusing their families to take care of them for the government. The government does that.
And then what happened is that I'm obviously separated from him. They changed my visa from a spouse visa to a visa permission to remain or something. It's a special visa that I had. But now I started going to the church, and he found out that I was going to the church, and he went and spoke to Pastor Gray, and then so Pastor Gray was like, "You can't do this. You have to give him a chance." And me, I was just like, I was feeling a bit fed up because I'm new to the country. I don't know anyone, and I thought that was out of order. So Pastor Gray just counseled us and went to court, changed my visa again, so because otherwise I had to leave back to America. But Pastor Gray managed to get a lawyer to change my visa back to a spouse visa. And we've been working on our marriage ever since, off and on. We've separated a few times. A few times? We've separated a few times, but every single time it's more of a reality check for him. You understand? And he always comes back, and he always speaks to Pastor Gray. And obviously he was here for HMT in the summer.
I hope after HMT you've not separated.
Well, he's doing fine, but he's doing fine. He's safe, and the seed's planted, and I believe the seed's planted. You know what I mean? And there is something, like you were saying, that the enemy's trying to steal from him, because I know he's a very smart, influential person, and I know there's something the enemy's trying to steal from him. And I'm in a different place now that I was, obviously, a few months back or even a year back. But he is seeking after God, and he is wanting he loves God. He knows God is real. And at least before he didn't think God was real, he was a bit of an agnostic. But his dad is a vicar in the Anglican church. His dad is a big vicar. He's made a canon in the summer.
Two pastors' kids. What a story. How will you connect that to Pastor Oksana?
Because it was people like her that planted that seed in me. All I had was condemnation. That's all I had. It's something that's very, what's that word I'm looking for? It's something that I cherish a lot when I see someone bring the raw gospel of Christ, God's mercy, His grace, what is really about others, is really real to me because of my own experience, and I know that everything else is keeping bondage.
Not just the religion. You don't fancy the religiosity, yeah?
No.
On the real one. I guess that's what you'll find in the embassy of God. Not a lot of religion, but a lot of the real thing. And that lady represents that?
She represents that. The fact that she went to her and...
She went to her?
To her and said that what she loves about her, what she does is that she's able to change and help other people change and transform their lives. And I've been on the other side of that. I know what it is to be under mentorship of a person exactly like that. And when I see people that are going through the same situations, this is why I bonded with this girl. It's like my daughter, even though she's not much older than me. But I have a special love for her, for the simple fact that when
Sorry, I'm about 10 years younger.
Well, not enough to
bond.
be your mother, but I feel very protective over her when it comes to her spiritual warfare, who she talks to, who she doesn't talk to. I'm always saying, are you in church? I'm always checking on her for the simple fact that I know her experience is like my experience, even though it's not exactly the same. I know the pain that she went through, and I know what God can offer to her, and what God can make of her.
Another question for you. Are there strip clubs? Strip club, or what do you call it? Are there strip clubs in England?
Yes. Yes. There's a whole
A few of them?
Yeah.
A few of them?
It's a lot.
A lot of them.
I only know of one.
No, there's a
Because
lot.
I don't know how many.
There's a lot.
In London.
It was the second biggest one in the south of England.
Yeah. Yeah. And what did I say? I wanted to go in those places. I told Tashan, when was it that I told you we were talking about, we were having that church meeting.
Yeah.
And I told Pastor Queen, I said, I feel like I want to sit in those tables, but on this side, I feel like I'm beyond my stripping years now. You know, I'm just saying that I feel like I want to be there and offer these girls conversation, money, give them money, I don't care. Because these girls are there paying for their way somehow, whether they're paying for their single moms or they're paying for their college, because a lot of these girls are paying for their education. That's why they're there. Most of these girls are in college and universities. And that's what they're after. And they're saying, I'm only going to strip for 3 years, 4 years, and then I'm going to have my degree. And then and nobody will ever know that I've done this.
Can I just say something? In the UK, obviously I was brought up and I've lived there all my life. In the UK, for young girls, there's no sense of belonging or achievement. Once you've done something wrong, that's what you're tarnished with. And one of the main problems in the UK is single mums, like teenage mums, and they try and do anything to provide for their children so that their children won't get taken away, because the children will get taken to the social services and then get lost in the system. Now, I don't know, Pastor Boy might be able to speak more, but I've had experiences with the social services and they're not nice people. There's no hope in the UK. That's the only way I can put it. There is no hope. And when it comes to ladies like Pastor,
Jesus. Oh, Jesus. There is no hope in the UK.
it's the truth. It's truth.
Do you agree with that?
There's no, when you wake up in the morning,
Huh?
yeah,
And you could sense that.
yeah, definitely.
Hopelessness
Definitely.
of a nation.
Yeah,
No hope, no destiny, no future.
no.
Okay. There is no hope in the UK. I could see that from where I am here in the Ukraine. Hello, Pastor. Hello. Hello.
The person whom you're trying to reach is currently unavailable.
There is no hope in the UK. There is no hope in the UK. You think so many people are feeling like that in the UK?
95% of them. You just get trapped in the system in the UK. If you're not that top end of, if you're not the top end of the chain, then you're.
That is what was in this country and in this Soviet region when I came here. We changed it. Even though I'm not living in the UK, but I've visited there a few times, and it's everywhere in the air. There is no hope. But that is not the saddest thing imaginable. The saddest thing imaginable about that is the fact that there are people in that same UK who think they are doing church.
Yep.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's the truth. Yeah, that's
Love
it.
So people starting churches every day, every week, every month, every year, but still no hope in the UK. The hopeless people don't even know about them. The hopeless people are just continuing being hopeless.
Yeah.
Because the way they do church, the way we do church now in the West, or all over the world, is not geared at the hopeless.
No.
It's not channeled at the hopeless people and the hopeless nation. The church is not working for them. It's not functioning for them. But the kind of church that young man told you today about Anthony, that is the way you build a church to function for the society and for the hopeless. Channeled at pursuing and fishing out all the hopeless. But the way church is being done in England and all over the world is we're here, we are having a good time. You want to have a good time? Yeah. You can come and join us.
Yes, that's right.
It's good here. We're enjoying it. You want to come on? Come on. You can't come. It's open to you. You are accepted. You are invited. But not living for them. Not functioning for them. Not pursuing them with 90% of your resources. Living to get them. That's a big difference. You put in one word the desperation of a nation. Politicians are looking for the answer. They keep on changing. Liberals, Tories, what do you call them?
Conservatives.
Labour, Tories, social, yeah. So you keep on changing every 4 years or every 7 years. They keep on coming and going. Over there in England, nothing changes. Things happen in the streets. People come on and talk. People come on and talk. You hear news, but ordinary people are just being wasted. Don't try to go into the metro or into the tube in England after work, especially.
It's like sardines.
It's just like where is there wagons where you put sheep and goats and cattle? Cattle wagons. Everybody just tired and are these human beings? They are supposed to be. But the system has crushed them.
Yeah.
Crushed them. Crushed them. Loaded. Aimless. Hopeless. Only just trying to get by. Just barely getting by. It's all over in England. One of the most difficult places I've ever been in my life. In the spirit realm, if you gauge it. But people are having church in the meanwhile.
Entertainment gospel.
Huh?
Entertainment gospel.
Yes.
People live in their own world. Why girls like this? And she said she's not the only one like that. She said 90% of people. And she's been living there for 3 years. She could say. And you say you have this biggest strips of, and the church are just living. They are living their life. The church is living their life. And we are saying churches are small. We are saying churches are not growing because we are not geared towards them. We don't function for them. We function for us.
What's the saddest part for me is, as a preschool teacher, it's the children. They are so corrupted. The next generation.
Teachers.
I'm a preschool teacher, and I see children, how the corruption, how I would say like maybe 95%, if not more. I mean, taking my own children out that I don't get taught, I don't teach them those values and principles. They're all 5, 6, corrupted. Pastor Sunday, I'm telling you, children, babies, okay, babies. 3, 4.
In the UK.
Yes.
I think I would want to not. I want to clarify what Jahara is saying, because unfortunately or fortunately, there is what you call the tri-services in the UK, which is the health sector, the education, and the social services. And the more I look at them, the more I can see devil's grand agenda for the UK. And that is because, unfortunately, and that's why we were sharing before I was giving my view about politics. Unfortunately, I have to sit on some of those committee or meetings, and you see what is going on. As little as 6 years now, Britain is introducing sex education into the curriculum. So your child goes to school, and they're already teaching your child about sex. I'm not saying they are teaching the child run away from boys. They are teaching them the act of sex. And they show them a video of shadow of boy and girl coming together. So as a parent, you have to go to school and sign and say, my kid is not going to watch that. But most families are not even aware they show the kids until the kids start showing them or start telling them what the school has told them. That's the education sector. In the health sector, I was telling Brother Femi, a 14-year-old girl will come to the clinic. I have started having sex. I want contraception. You must never give her lesson about morals, because she will go back and say that doctor was judgmental. They strike you, you lose your source of income. So the only question you can ask that girl is, I hope it's not an older man abusing you. Say, no, it's my age mate. You give the contraception, go your way. So what are you encouraging? A girl that is starting to have sex at 13, 14, what do you think will happen? One day or the other, she is going to forget taking the tablet and she'll get pregnant. And there is that cycle of single parenthood in US, in UK. I've seen people, my patients, they are 34 years old, their grandmother. She had a child when she was 16. When she was 32, the same daughter had another child. So at 32, she's a grandmother because she has a 16-year-old daughter and maybe a 6-month-old grandson. And what should I be asking? Is your accommodation okay? Are you getting your benefit? You can't teach them morals.
And just to add to that, my cousin, she turned 13. Yeah, she turned 13 in August, and she had a baby in the December, and she's 13 years old. 13. My 13-year-old cousin, she turned 13 in August, and she gave birth to her child in December. 13.
1-3.
Yes.
1-3.
Yes.
13.
Can I just finish that? And please, if possible, can I say one thing, sir? If I want to give more secret into the British society, but do I have permission to say this be cut off or not recorded? Okay. This, yes. This is particularly a very important info.
You think that kind of a ministry is what you need in England? When it's not about church, or it's about religion, or about singing, or about fancy, or about dressing, or about just flashiness, but the real thing, just taking the gospel.
If you show those girls and boys a little bit of love, the fact that they have a purpose, and the fact that they have a destiny, the UK will be the most powerful place on earth. Yeah. The amount of people
really needs this kind of church.
Oh, definitely, hands down. Even down to my little brother that's 19 years old. They put this stigma on him because he's mixed race, and he's got black in him. He has to act a certain way because drive this kind of car. My little brother's 19 and he hasn't found his purpose. But if we had HMT for youth, like we had at our church that time, if he had gone to that, he would have known what his purpose was. My little sister's 15 and she's already talking about boys and, all those sort of things. And I just look at her and, when you're trying to tell somebody something, and look at my life, I'm your sister, look what I went through, giving her that purpose. If someone like Pastor Adelaja just came down, sat all these girls down and told them, listen, I'm telling you, UK would be the most powerful place on earth. Give somebody some love in UK. That's all that most of the girls want in is love.
What you are trying to tell me is that we need the church.
Yeah, that's what we need.
Kingdom church.
Yes, definitely.
Kingdom-driven church.
Yeah, kingdom-driven church. Not religious.
No.
And that's loads of that.
That's loads of that.
In fact, you go more. It's an
That's
epidemic. That's the word to use. An epidemic. That's the word to use. An epidemic.
Is that the reason why the white folks in England they don't respect?
They don't want to hear the word church.
Not even respect.
They don't want to hear it.
They don't want to go to
They don't want to
church.
hear it.
I invited so many people, they don't want to hear about church.
Because there's no relevance. So we should rather focus more on relevance rather than religion.
Yeah,
Revealing God, God's nature, God's love, God's compassion.
It's a lot of identity crisis.
yes, that's it. They don't know who they are.
Do you mind if I chip in, sir? And I'm saying this also for myself to know where to work. There's a common misperception in the UK about the white folks. And the people that run the system in the dark like that misperception to be that way. A lot of people talk about, the British white not going to church and everything. I want to tell us there are 3 groups of the British white. There is 70% that are middle class or poor. There is a 25% educated that are Anglican, but they don't know kingdom, they know just church. There is a 5% who are probably the Freemasons that control the system. So what the 5% does would be, They can't do anything to the 25% middle class, rich, educated Christian whites. They leave them to do what they want to do. Eton College, which is the most #1 college in the UK, they've provided 5 prime ministers. They still use cane to punish. As a parent, you go to Eton College, you will sign that your child can be disciplined. But on the TV, to the 70% they want to keep in the dark, they say you can't beat your child, you can't punish your child, this is child abuse, so that those kids will grow up wayward and continue to serve the 30%. Anybody that wants to quote me wrong, go and look at Eton. Eton till today uses cane. If it is a school that is going to produce the next prime minister, why are they using cane? They know the Bible says spare the rod. Oxford University, if you look at the graduation ceremony of Oxford University, there is a hall they've been using that was dedicated by the fathers of Oxford. They will, even the Muslim that is graduating from Oxford will kneel down in the name of God, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. I present this certificate. But when those guys go into the system, they are the minority to the Freemasons. They keep quiet, they live their life. So they now make us believe, oh, Britain is about sex on the TV, reality show. Those 25% do not watch it, and they just keep their head low. So the whites are not as homogeneous as we take it. But some people have realized for a system to continue to maintain its strata, you have to keep some people in bondage. And of course, because a lot of foreigners are migrants, it is so easy to lump us with the 70% and beam the same information. So a lot of people say, oh, British kids are wayward, they are this, they don't. Go to Dorset, go to Harpenden, where the real educated British are, and see the behavior. They are different from the ones you see on the street.
My sister here wanted to say something.
I was going back to where you was talking about how young girls go to clinics and ask for condoms. It's quite funny because when I grew up in London, and there was like a clinic there where all under 16s will go, and if we wouldn't need a parent's permission or anything like that, we can just walk in there, phone up or make an appointment, and then we'll just go there, get checked. Some of us wouldn't just want condoms. Some of us wouldn't just be pregnant. Some of them would have, obviously, sexual diseases. But then I'm thinking, if your parents were... Because in London, everyone's so busy. So when you're at work, your children could be doing anything. So if your parents were there more, maybe some of these girls wouldn't get up to what they're doing. And even the guys, there was guys always there going to get condoms, going to get checked for diseases and all sorts. So if the parents were more at home with their children, teaching them how to go about life, especially after school. After school, you'll come home, your mum and dad's not even there. So you're thinking, I might as well go and hang out with my friends. And it's always a group of friends just sitting down in the estate, because there's estates, or in the park, smoking, drinking, doing whatever else they're doing in the streets. But maybe if some of them, like the parents, some of them are young parents having children as well, which make the system even worse. Because you've got children, young children out there, and their parents don't care. And then you've got some children that parents do care. And obviously they're going to want to go with the friends that have more freedom. So it's a bit...
So that you are painting a picture of more hopelessness.
There is. Unless
we stop the slide. So what you are saying is, if I were in Great Britain, or like we have done in Ukraine, start a movement for moms.
Oh, that's right. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Lord. No, you're right, because...
Or a movement called After School Movement.
Yeah.
Raise the awareness, put people in the street who care, gather all those kids, give them after school classes, give some classes to the parents. That's the kind of way we are going to reach the country. They come in. Don't wait for them to come to you in the church. They are not. No. If they are going to even come, they will just come to sit down, and then as soon as they go out, they're doing the same thing again. So we must adopt Kingdom Embassy of God concept. I told some people back in America that in the 21st century, if you are not going to be doing church like Embassy of God does it, you will not be doing church at all. You only have religion, you have clubs, religious groups, but you will not be effective. That for you to really do church in the 21st century, to be effective, you have to adopt. Anybody who is not adopting the Embassy of God concept of church, we soon will not have church anymore. This is the only thing that will work, especially in the Western society.
And one of the biggest churches in the UK, in the UK amongst the youth primarily is Hillsong. And the reason I've been to Hillsong numerous of times, and the only single denominator I would say they have an edge against most other churches is entertaining. It's like going to a concert, and people love the light, camera, action. That's what the UK love. They love I'll go to church, the music is banging, there's music playing, I could jump up and down, everyone looking trendy, latest sneakers, latest jeans, nice looking guys, nice looking women. That's what they want. And the bands, it's funkiness going. It's like you're in a club or a Jesus club. That's what it's like. So that's the attraction. Then obviously you have a little bit of the word here and there, but nothing's strong enough to really convict anybody. So that's what you got there. So I think that's the competition. But when they go to a normal traditional church, what they find is people, almost like people moaning. Someone dies, like funeral service. So when you compare that with a live church,
who they're going to pick?
I mean, anybody can answer our question, what would you go to? You go to where it's happening. And that's what the issue is. Because they're naturally designed, their mindset is naturally designed to go to a club. That's what they do on Friday night. So I go to a club on Friday night, I go to another club on Sunday, but the only difference being you're not allowed to smoke. That's all. So I think if we can get a church concept in place where you retain that entertainment factor, but you add more solid teaching into the picture and more social activity, like we learned today, social church and all of that, there'll be a major change, a major shift. That's what I believe.
Okay, and I have that. We have that kind of church here in Kiev. It's called Hillsong Kiev. They have Hillsong London, Hillsong Moscow, Hillsong New York. But that's a dying church as well. It's a yesterday church. What you just described now is a yesterday church. And it's just a matter of time before people discover it. But if you're able to see ahead, you will discover that it's a past tense church. And the reason is, imagine you having a church full of action like that. I don't care, maybe it's 1 million people you have. But you are enticing the people with entertainment. Jumping, dancing, just entertainment. You are actually working on their emotions, not on their mind. So it's the same thing, as just as you have said, as going to the pub, or going to the club, or going to entertainment. You cannot keep people in God through entertainment. That's what she was trying to tell us. Because they will have experience, but they will not have revelation. It's kind of what I said, that understanding insight is more powerful than power even. It's something like that. Because when they leave that church, emotions dies out. No matter how much you jump, 2 hours later, when the sweat that dries up, it goes away. So they are but the lifestyle will still be the same. They will only come back there to jump again, but they are going to hell. And then they are not changing the society at all. The only kind of church that will survive in the future is the church that is what she saw. Not gathering. What that kind of church will do is just to gather. Just like the stadium, football will gather. Just like the pub will gather. Just like the discotheque will gather. Just to attract, but not to retain. And not to decide, not to do the ultimate the church was asked to do, disciple. But what she saw is even deeper than that. What she saw is the reality of a woman being a God carrier and a God revealer. Entertainment and jumping up and down will not reveal God and will not carry God. It carries feelings, good feelings. So, but what she was talking about, the lady, what she saw, she said, what we need is the reality of somebody genuinely coming to love you into God. Wherever you are, in the pub, in the downstream. So when people experience that kind of the loving touch of the Master, it would never matter to them either they have music today or they don't have it today. Either they even don't have music ever. They have experienced the real deal. So if you are going to base your ministry on artificial methods, it will not last. But it's better for you to go for the real deal. Go for God. Go for love. Go for compassion. Go for, remove your tie, remove your suit, roll out your sleeves, and go to the down and now where they are. Love people into the kingdom. Tell them the truth. Set them free. Clean them up. I think that's what you were trying to refer to when you talk about that lady. Because I've been to Australia. I'm a friend of Brian Houston. But I know how much effort he and others put into just keeping it going. I know how much effort they need to put in just getting the latest music instruments. I don't care if I have instrument or not. I just need to appear because I carry God. But that kind of church, you cannot even do church on Sunday if you don't have lights. No. You cannot even do church if you don't have the latest. So you have to have the latest music. You have to smoke, the latest screen, the latest video, the latest. You have to be looking for the best guitarist in town, the best singer, the most blonde girl to stand up and do, all kind of things. Because the way you get them, what you used to get them is what you will now need to use to keep them. So if you compromise by using fake, artificial methods to get them, you are obliged to service that method for the rest of your life. You have to be servicing like a machine, buying petrol to keep it going. But because I know from inside. So it has to get to a place that even the Hillsong Church now, I say, how do you keep them going? Okay, these people were jumping when they were in their 20s, but now they are getting to their 40s and their 30s. They have other interests. So let's just allow some wine. So that's what they are interested in. Let's use that to keep them. So a lot of things are going on.
I want to say one thing. One thing that you said is that the content of the leader is very important in the type of church that we have. And that's another thing that I've noticed is like when your leader, when your pastor is broken, that is a tool. When people can see the brokenness in you as a leader, that is the tool because people can see. You think they can't see you, but people see you.
When the leader uses the brokenness of other people around him as well, honestly, if I'm just speaking the truth. If you were to use people like us or other people that have testimonies, and like you were saying the other day, like it's really hit me that if you were to put me on a platform, or put you on a platform, or put some of the broken men that have been in our church on a platform, then our church, we wouldn't be complaining about church growth. I just think we're focusing on the wrong thing. Like seriously, like I'm sitting here and I'm kind of feeling the pain of all the girls that are in the UK and all the guys that are in the UK. If you think about how many people have we got in church today? We've got 100 people. We need to get more people.
God uses the lips of the mouth of the babes to reveal and profess the truth. That is what God has just using you to speak. You are extremely intelligent, and that's why Satan wanted to destroy you. And you've got to, and even in that, you need to begin to learn leadership. Leadership to speak your mind. Leadership to give yourself up to God. To use your original thoughts to move your country forward, your church forward. and to lose any fear of the customary, of the prototypes, of the order, of the rules, but to be more interested in pleasing God and releasing the things God is putting in you, rather than having more respect for the structure, status quo, and the way things are, than to release all the things God is putting in your heart. So, you will need to fight a fight when you get back to church. And you would need to tell Pastor, you sent me there. Now you are going to deal with it. And you are going to say, I'm going to let it go. You said I should go, I've come back now. You're never going to recognize me, Pastor. I'm going to do everything that is right. Everything God is saying, I'm going to make this church grow, Pastor. Wow. Me alone, I'm enough to make this church double. You will not have to worry about her. I have a testimony today. I have a story today. Can I come and speak? It's not in the program. Please put me in that program. I have something to say. Put me in that program. Put me in that program. I know I'm inviting people to come hear my story today. And next Sunday also, yes, I have another aspect of my story to tell. That's the way to set your country free. Be more interested in and be more addicted and be more obsessed by that passion and love for people and for God, that the respect you have for order, tradition, and it doesn't it has to be like that. Oh, we've got to clear the program for preaching. No. Do what you need to do for God to move through you and through your country. Whew. Well, I don't know what you want to talk about, but I would have liked us to keep on talking. We were talking about the lady and the man that were here today, so that would be a good idea.
But that's where I'm going. You see, as we were talking, Anton with Asana, as I spoke today, I could see a flow of selflessness. I would also see that God has helped you to impact their life. You do not draw them with a trend of what is happening. And that simplicity in you and straightforwardness and openness, I saw it in Anton. In fact, she was wiping something. Anton had to squat down, clean it up for her.
Who did that?
Anton.
Yeah. Anton is the man.
Yes.
I spilled the drink on the floor.
Oh, you spilled it?
Yes.
Oh.
And he continued. A normal man of God.
And he's a bishop.
A bishop wouldn't do that. So Anton acted like a small shop. Wow. You see, so I could see that trend, and I also saw that in Ansana. From the picture he painted, so that we have a mass of collection together of people that have been given salvation, but not pushed out to where they discover themselves to affect the society. So you see, what we're talking about here is that the church, a structure has been laid that is a perversion of this structure that can work. And because of that, what we are supposed to take from here, and what I'm taking from here, is how do I take this, put it in place, so that, because where I'm coming from, Nigeria, I've been telling them for about 20 years that if we're not careful, we're going to be worse than Britain, worse than Turkey. Somebody is repeating it. So I'm leaving this HMT to go back home and say I can put this in place. What can I do to help the few that will listen? Help them reconcile with God, establish fellowship, but discover what they are and where they fit in the society, so that they can also go and affect the marketplace, so that we will not have this cloud around us where the enemy is hedging us in like it's happening over Britain and the rest. Then I also saw in Asana, that simplicity you see, she was not scared. One of the testifiers said she will hand over assignment to us. Even when we make mistakes, she still trusts us.
She came with a team or what?
Yes, she came with. Now, you said the first few years of ministry you were working really hard, and then 30%, 70%, 50%. Now, you have opportunity to even sit down. Now, what she has shared with us today shows that when you put the system in place, and then you have impacted and raised leaders, you will have time to spend with your family. You have time to do what you should do, and then you are not afraid. But we come from where, if I'm the senior pastor and I'm supposed to preach on Sunday, and he's wearing a better suit than I am, I'll become scared of allowing him to share because he can steal my spotlight. But Asana, from what she said and the other pastor said, he said she said she would just, yeah, that's the truth. But you see, what I've learned here is that you're not doing that. So those who have raised are not doing that. You trust them, you hand over assignment to them, and then they also hand over assignment to those pastors and said, we learned from our mistakes. She still trusted us when we make mistake. So you see, there is a system.
And they're not even talking about me. They're talking about her.
Yes. You see, that's what I'm saying.
I'm not even there.
Then, what I learned.
Everybody's in their church. I don't even know what they're talking about.
Good. So you see, like what she said, what you've done is what they've done. They've imparted people. You point them to God. That the work is God's work, is not your work. And that you are not the focus. So they didn't come to talk to us about you. And then they also show the people that they are raising that it's not their work, that the people who are going to be held responsible for the success and failure. You see? So, and then they point the people also to God. So whether she is there or not, the people are working hard to make sure it succeeds. And when they make mistakes, she will still give them another assignment. In fact, where we come from, you make a mistake, there is a cliche on you, there is a nomenclature on you as a failure.
That's what you said led to most of those young girls to that problem. Because once they do something wrong in the schools, they fall out of the system, then they become pregnant and down the trail.
So you see, then Asana also shared with us, giving the people the boot, the one that made us to laugh. You see, I come from a place where you may have 40 pastors on Sunday. Everybody wearing suit and looking like a CIA agent. Because the pastor is coming to preach. And they do that routinely.
No, what do they, all of them preach in one service?
What do they do? They just wear suit and stand.
For what?
So they are...
as bodyguards?
As bodyguards. These are people, apostles, prophets, teachers.
What do you mean bodyguards?
Security.
So they do. You mean by doing nothing?
They do nothing. It's a routine.
Why should they come? Why don't they go to their places?
That's exactly what I'm saying. But Asana said, when she has assessed you to a point.
You see, all these people, you didn't see them on Sunday, where I was preaching. You know why? They're busy doing their own thing.
Good. So she said, at a point, she's assessed.
No, because why should I conserve all these, accumulate and conserve all these people in one place? Why they could be doing the exact same thing I'm doing right now with another 10,000, with another 5,000, with another 10,000, multiplying the glory of God and His kingdom. Or what do you mean?
You want to keep the glory intact.
They want to exactly. So you see, she told us that when she has assessed somebody, she kicks you with a boot. That means go out and do something. But here we come from a system where you can find 40 pastors in one church. On Monday, on Wednesday, on Friday, on Sunday.
It doesn't just happen on Sunday?
That's their routine. No, it's very annoying, sir.
I'm afraid if I go to Nigeria, I might go to empty all them churches.
It's true.
I'm going to give them job, all those pastors.
You see?
To empty the churches. They will cost me, eh?
But it's a costly. But you see, so she sent the people, but we gather the people, we fill the place, so many things. And I think we need to, what I'm carrying from here, I hope we too, I also express a lot of pain for those of you who are ministers under presidents and founders, because there are some decisions that will be burning in you to take. I said they may not be able to take it, but I'm going to go back home and I'm going to apply this. And those who will agree to listen to me, I'm going to call even ministers together. I'm going to talk to them. I'm going to take some of these slides and I'm going to teach them. Anybody that is willing will start a new move. That's how it has to be. Because what we see from Anton, the other teachers, and then from Ansana today, we see that there is a very free-flowing relationship within the circle of a team. And what's your problem is my problem, you know. Because these days you go and see on the sticker on the card, they said, Methodist family, living faith, dead faith, redeem, all these things, all the stickers. You see, but what she said with us, what is his problem is my problem. What affects me affects him. So we have to go with this same mindset, with this paradigm shift, to go and apply it the way we'll point the people to God. Tell them the work is your work, it's my work. I'm really happy. I really feel satisfied. And I thank God that I had to come for this HMT.
Amen. Well, no. Why don't you give it to your wife, Pastor, Sister Jane? Why is it that you are always making him alone to talk? You must have some opinion. You must have something going on in your heart.
No.
I want to hear you.
I spoke yesterday. You were not around.
Yeah, but I want to hear.
Okay. When she was speaking, what is that her name? Asana.
Asana.
Most of the speakers, when they speak, my body is here, but I'm in Nigeria working.
You can picture.
That is what was happening to me throughout. When they are talking, I'm just here in my body, but my spirit is working hard in Nigeria. So you'll be seeing me sitting down.
So why should you let him say he's the one going to gather the people? You must be gathering your own people.
He knows he cannot gather like me. He knows it very well. He's my husband. I work with youths. I'm sure you've realized it. With the 2 days I've been here, I've related closely with whether you like it or not. Am I lying? No. It's a physical truth. I relate with people very easily. And I love people. You know, without apology. I love people. So I work with the youth. As they were talking, I was already working hard in Nigeria. That is all I can say. And I marry all the things they say. I relate them spiritually to what Christ have done in my life. Especially when we are to come for this trip. Each step, Christ spoke to me. I got a lesson. Out of all the steps we took to come to this program. So it's not like just coming to listen. It's not like coming to just look at beautiful people, beautiful country, the weather. No. It's all about changing my life personally. So as I've been sitting here, you will not believe it. My spirit has been working in Nigeria since I came. So I'm very grateful. If you see me not talking, it's because I'm working hard somewhere.
I'm interested, Sister Jane, in seeing some of those pictures you are saying. I want to see in my spirit mind those locations, those groups of people.
Yes.
What you see yourself doing when you get back. I want to see the picture. I want to see you.
I see myself working with cult boys. When I mean cult boys, cult is killing Nigeria. Who is a Nigerian here?
No,
Is it
who
true?
lives in Nigeria?
Who lives in Nigeria? Nobody is living in Nigeria. You know what cultism is doing, right? Okay. I see myself working closely with the youths, with the cult boys and cult girls, because the next generation may not be alive because of cultism. So I see myself working closely with them. And I can also believe God that you will not let us down. I've already told some people that I'm going to be praying hard, sincerely, talking with groups, praying with them, believing God that he will move to our country. Because he has impacted lives in this place strongly, and we need him. Because he is our own. They may not recognize him here, but we are also missing him. He's our father. He has done a lot here, but we need our father home too. So we are very sorry that we are going to pull him home soon. No, I'm talking this. It's real. Please, I want you to listen in the spirit realm. Don't be in the physical. I'm talking from the spirit realm. We need him. It's like a father who has left home for years. Can imagine what the children are suffering. So we need him to come home. And I'm going to be doing that a lot. I'm going to be praying that God will help. Because I'm not capable of doing things. When you are not at the top, you cannot have a say. Like my husband, he's been trying to impact in the lives of people. But because we don't have a big structure on ground, it's like your roots are dying. And we are not capable of doing things. When you are not at the top, you cannot have a say. Like my husband, he's been trying to impact in the lives of people. But because we don't have a big structure on ground, it's like you're nothing. But because God has given him this position, when he comes, I know a lot of things will take place.
I have a request for you. Definitely, what you just said now, to be praying that God will release me on time, that is just from God. If you were supposed to ask what you could do for me, it was going to be one of the things I was going to ask for. I want you to help me mobilize people. People, but they might not have the same burden you have because they don't know me as much as now you have discovered. They don't know what I could bring. But what you are seeing here right now is nothing compared to what I'm going to bring. But I need God to release me on time and to help me. Yes, and then another thing I need, though, is if you could, you and Pastor Bro Isaac, if you people could help facilitate Nigerians, because they have not been giving Nigerians visa for the past 9 years. Even with big men of God. Big men of God, have not been giving visa to come because they have because of corruption. The Ukrainian embassy had corruption issue, and because of me, because they are afraid. They normally say we already have one Nigerian there, and we can't cope with it. We don't need more Nigerians. But God has done. We have seen a sign. Last month we had one Nigerian came. Then this time you are the second people to come in 7 years or 9 years from Nigeria. And every year we have over 200 Nigerians trying to come. Respectable people, normal people, but they don't give them. The only people who were able to come in the last 7 years paid $7,000 for visa. But it's like bribe, yes. So, so I want you to help me to begin to, can you stand, Olia? I want you to begin to work with this lady so that you could mobilize. And we will probably send some people to you who want to come. But maybe you know people you could trust who might be interested. But don't just bring anybody who wants to come. Bring people who might have passion or who have zeal, who you think will contribute when you go back, who are strategic people, so that we'll be able to teach them like this. It could be any time. It doesn't have to be when we have program. Our next program will be in April, but it could be any time. I will do it for them, just even if they are going to be 10 people or 20 people, so that we could begin to bring awareness to as many Nigerians as possible, so that by the time I come, there will be more people on the ground who already know, what we are talking about. They will have the concept of the kingdom. So maybe you begin to talk to people, they will see the change in you. They will see your zeal. They will see something. So maybe you will begin to use that. If God will provide them with the money to get the ticket, then we'll begin to wait for them. And we'll, from our own side, we will do the notary invitation for them so that they will be able to make it. We can start working now if we have the names to begin to work as early as possible. Thank you. No, Sister Jane, I trust you. I could see, because I needed to hear you. Because you are, I just saw, why I needed to hear you was that as Brother Isaac was speaking, he doesn't like to say if he's pastor. I could see that, I could see him running, but I also could see you running parallel. And it was affecting a whole group of people, influence, and you are not just sitting down helping him. So I wanted to hear, but I didn't know what was going on in your mind. But I see you also running parallel and having the same impact or more. So, that was, I didn't know you were seeing it too. That you see yourself doing something. So I wanted to hear, please, because your calling is not to sit down. All of you, God brought you. You thought, because he was being led by the Spirit by the time it meant you to come. That was God. Because God needs you back at home. Because we must change that country. I by the grace of God, if God will allow me, it will only take at least 5 years, Nigeria will become a different story. I don't need government. We will just, I know what to do. So that is my life. That's my specialty. To change a country, 5 years is enough. So make that story of that whole country. What the whole government is struggling with, you will see what will happen. If God will only allow it to come. But I will have 25 years. That's what God told me. To work all for Africa. So after 25 years, I'll be ready to go to heaven after that. So apart from those two people who came today, did you have some people yesterday as well? Yeah. And the day before? Is there any one of them that impressed you, that you remember, or that you might want to? Because now you have so much information, I'm sure you might not quite remember. There's so much. The one that did what? The one that survived the building of this place. Leona. Tell me about her.
Oh my goodness. She's
also in my team, my apostolic team.
She's a lady by gender, but she's a man.
Lion.
She's a lion by spirit. Yes, because we could see how precise she was. She knew exactly what she wanted, and she knew how to get what she wanted done. And she applied faith, but you see, she set a goal. Say, I'm owing. In 1 year, I'm going to pay my debt. And how she went about it just taught me that there must be a drive. It's all hinges around what you told us the other evening, faith. Whatever we're going to do with faith. How over $300,000 that she was owing, how a bank wrote off some. Finally, the same person now has changed her house. We could see precision in her. We could see somebody with a focus, with a target, know what she wanted to do, how she went about it. I mean, when I saw that car, I said, God has really trained people through you. That woman can move the whole nation of Ukraine. From what I saw yesterday, she could move a whole nation of Ukraine. All this our sister.
Bring all of them back to Nigeria with
yes. Me. Or like that our sister who works with that NGO. Natasha's mom.
Yes.
When she was giving us step
Valentina.
Yes, when she was giving us step by step how to build personality and everything, she just opened a chapter about how we can be involved in politics. We took time because question about politics. That man who is running away from politics. we discussed and we tried to pull him in because we Christians believe that politics is a dirty game. But I told them politics is not a dirty game, but the players are dirty. Now, if clean players will not go to play political game.
We have about 500 people in our church involved in politics.
Now, you see, so I told them, I said, from what she shared with me, it also strengthened me to go back home and work within the political circle more. Because if clean people not go into politics, dirty people go into politics and make law that will oppress you, the clean person. So from her presentation yesterday, I got that. I'm going to go home. And then I was also planning to register an NGO. So she said, yes, she's working with an NGO. And I saw those things. That herself, is it Lona? The first one. Yes. When I saw them, then putting them, all of them together, I discovered that the whole team have something in common. They know where they are going. They know what they are supposed to do. And the focus is outside there, not inside this place. So I took that the focus must be outside. We in the church, we spend...
So that's why I said, never let your focus be singing, because that's inward focus again. Or electric light, never do those things. It's a deception. Don't get trapped up in that deception. Jesus never had any of those, but he had love.
So we put 98% of our time inside the church and 2% outside. 2%. But what I've learned from this HMT is that we need to rearrange our priorities, paradigm shift. Take the 98% of the time, put it outside.
See, that's why I wrote the book, Church Shift. Shift the way we do church.
So this is what I learned from those people.
Thank you, Pastor. One of the things I saw in all the people who spoke to us, I saw that all of them were passionate. Now, I think that's one of the reasons why God brought me here, to teach me something. Now, it's not a passion thing, but all of them had a plan. And all of them had a systematic approach to the execution of their plan. That's one thing I saw. So they were all passionate people. They all had a plan. They didn't just have passion, they had a plan. And they followed up their plan systematically. So that's one thing I saw in all of them.
Is there any person you would like to talk about, apart from these people they spoke about already?
Well, I think, like I said, that's one quality that,
all of them.
That stood out to me.
In all of them?
In all of them,
yes. I think Eleona, is it the first one? Eleona. I just look at her and then I told her she was wonderful. And my first thought is, when I grow up, I want to be like her. But the first thing that I learned from her, she said, you have to meet with yourself. And I don't think I met myself yet, which is key. Oh yeah, it's really difficult because she spoke about her experience, how she battled you when you asked her to do the assignment, the very first assignment, and she didn't want to do it like a couple of times. But once she sat, but only her taking time to go through it, because
people are trying to avoid meeting with themselves.
Yeah.
They don't want to know the truth about themselves.
Exactly. And when she sat and took time to go through the different aspects, and taking her time and looking at each definition, what are the characteristics, and find out she had 120 characteristics. And it is something that it takes time, it takes work. But I find out.
Can you imagine, you people only got to hear each one of these people once. Can you imagine if you could spend a week with each one of them?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? One. Sometimes you could go to a conference. You don't even get from the whole conference what you get from one of these.
Yeah. So 120 she was able to pull out of her. It's like, and then what I think is Igor that said that, because it was the one being the one interpreting what she was saying. And at some point he said, oh, if you knew her before she changed, you know, like a character was like,
She was one of the worst people you could find in the whole church. And that's why you should not put a cliche on someone or put condemnation on people, even though they are still struggling with issues. and they are not there. Yeah, if you could show them patience, love, and cover for them, they could come up like she has just done.
Yeah, so that really impressed me. I was thinking, so all the stuff was in her, but she never took a time. When she took the time to remove all the dust, then all, as I call it, maybe the diamond or the treasure came out. And by only doing this as a side, taking a time and putting effort in it, then she said she got delivered. By just doing that, taking the time to do this as a side really helped her, and she was a changed person.
Not by working on herself.
Just
changing her personality.
So that really something that struck me when she spoke about that, and then and then you can see that there is a structure in her life, like everything is planned. There's a purpose. She even spoke like there's a reason, like she has a purpose in every conversation that she's having, even with family members. She knows. I think Dasha mom also touched this point, that she also analyzed people around her. She knows what is the need of a family member, a mom, a father, and when she goes there, she just give it what they need, and then after she leave and continue away. So I find out that this is really something that impressed, being able to manage, because I've struggled. I knew that I need to manage my time, but I couldn't see how, because you always find yourself trapped when you come home. There's a certain environment, and then you have your family member putting that pressure, that need. Now that you gave most of the time to work, when you come back home, then there's a need. They ask you also to give them. So you feel like overwhelmed, and it was really hard to organize and then plan stuff, because I was saying that at work, your time don't belong to you. But when you come home, you have your time into your hand, but still you don't possess it, because you either have to, take care of the family, or you let distraction take over the time. TV, internet, talking, wasting time. So it was really precious for me to go through that. And then as I'm here, I'm just, as I say, I need to spend more time with all those people. So I think, yeah, that's it's really impactful.
Anyone wants to say anything? What about Pastor Andrew? There was this pastor the first day when I left, when I had to leave.
Is it a refugee? Okay.
No, the first one.
Church shift?
Who was speaking English.
Oh yeah, he was really powerful.
Church shift,
yeah. He was also have the same focus, really energetic. He likes to pump, to flex. So he opened our eyes in the fact that nation, I think some also guide that mentioned the fact that how we were defining nation, looking at a country or for certain people, but how he taught us that we can take nation of hip-hop, nation of motorbike or motorcycle or whatever. So each group, depending on the interests, you can find, those are the nations that you have to target. So that opens your eyes. So when you hear people saying, I'm an apostle of nation, so they don't know what they're talking about. Abstract. For them, it's just, I'm an apostle of the nation. I just have to travel all over the place and preach. But, by him giving that, that's the thing that really opened my eyes. I'm like, wow. It is so simple as it is. Nation, you find a lot of nation in your environment. So what Jesus said,
it's possible.
It's possible. It's not something like, okay, you have to be a big man and then. I also saw his passion since Sunday service. Just worship, full in it. He's just really wonderful person. He also crazy story, being shot by his father, everything was against him for him to fail. So I'm looking at my life, wow. I didn't live half, maybe 1% or 5% of what he have lived, all those attacks. So I don't have any excuse, because from where he came from zero, he's able to meet president of the state, because he's meeting the vice president's wife and representative of Obama. And I'm saying The pastor is not even doing anything. It's just one of
these guys in Ukraine. It's not even in the US.
yeah.
In the West,
It's in Ukraine. With all that is going on, he doesn't speak English. He's able to touch all those things. And one thing you point out is like, and then that opened my eyes. We cannot trust the government, even the United States, the United Nations. We cannot even trust them, because when the case of the refugee came, you have the representative of the United Nations come to him and trying to pay me a visit and bringing some gifts to help the refugee. But you saw the gift was blankets. So, and then, but they brought like 50 cameras to just say that they, so he got mad. He wanted to kick them out, all of them. They begged him, for them to stay. So that opened my eyes, like, you cannot trust any of those big, whatever is the name.
Only the church is the answer.
You cannot trust them. So we have the responsibility. We have to take this responsibility. Otherwise, we're just going to be just complaining and nothing will change. And then we'll be at the end responsible of not taking that responsibility. So we have to be accountable.
We can fix the world. Can you begin to see that we can fix the world? Oh, yeah. Everything happening in the country, our people are there somewhere. And I'm just sitting at home here. And that's how we've touched millions. Minimum, if we are not affected any year, with 5 million people. One church. Yeah. Because people are everywhere. So the ones who see in church, this are just, it's nothing. Doesn't talk about that.
Yeah, I was very impressed with him because last April, when I did HMT, we actually went to the refugee house, and all of this had not happened then. A lot has happened between then and now. Then he was a business guy who had apartments, and he was using his own apartments to house the refugees, which normally he would have put up for rent, and but we saw that sacrifice that he was laying down, just putting and so he was doing all of that, and collecting clothes and just kind of make sure you clothe all the refugees. But he was still needing a lot of finances and all of that. So it was interesting to see his slides that they were protesting, they were actually getting the government's attention to know that, look, these are Ukrainians who need to be nurtured and encouraged. Don't just treat them as castaways. So it was very interesting to see that there's a lot of things that had happened since then, and now seeing him with photographs with a lot of big names. So I'm assuming that a lot has happened just since then.
Everybody. It's beating all of them.
Yeah. Very impressive.
Who is the other person that came? Valerie, please, Bill. Okay. So is your Bill of us.
I just wanted to say that on Sunday, when the lady was giving her testimony, you said that pain is power. And what I realized about everybody that spoke is that they all had their own pain, and they turned it into power.
Yes.
And they turned it into power, and then the power turned it into the love that God has for people.
Yeah.
So the pain that they experienced, they just made it into wealth, like you said on Sunday.
Amen.
So what you said on Sunday made sense. But now that I'm sitting here on Thursday and I've heard everything that everybody else has said, it's just crystal clear that pain is actually power.
Amen.
So that's what I got as well.
Wow. Brilliant.
I think we've all said so many nice words about our teachers, but we've failed to recognize the people that have made everything to be very, very possible. And they may have seen in the background, but I think, first of all, it would be nice to give them a round of applause because they probably did very well for us. Olga, Paulina, Dasha, Igor, just the whole team. But also, I just want to mention that when we're talking, Igor also gave us a training as well. And I think that training is important about the diagram of how to make a social church. I think it is relevant, and the timing was also appropriate because it set the tone for further discussion, because we can see everything we did further, how it fit into that plan of getting people from the community, working with them to become leaders, coming to church, then they go out again, as leaders to get more people, and the cycle continues, which is good because it gave a basis for understanding what Kingdom Church is about.
One thing I want to point out quickly is just that I did see that all the things that they have trained us with or taught us, it was out of personal experience. I mean, they lived it. They did not open the Bible for say and then say, okay, this is the verse. But as they were speaking, the thing that happened to their life related to the Bible stories. So, which was really wonderful also.
So sometimes we get carried away just trying to tell Bible stories. Why not living our Bible stories?
I think I will forever remember something that my brother Igor said when we were at the rehab center the very first day. Because we kept asking this question, where are you going to get buildings from? Where are you going to get money from? The way we were thinking without our Western mindset. I mean, if you're going to multiply this, won't you need more buildings? And he said one simple thing. It's not buildings we need, it's leaders. And you know what I mean? Just the whole different way of thinking. And I can't forget it because it's the way we think that usually hinders us. But what he's saying, no, it's actually leaders that we need. Because if we can get leaders, buildings, we're not worried about that. We're not worried about that. We're not even worried about money. But we're thinking, you're going to need to fund this. You're going to need a building to do another. But it's leaders. We can train more leaders. We can multiply this. And I think it's something I'll take with me, that this is what's important really are these people and not necessarily the bricks and the walls. So.
Say something, please.
No, I've spoken already. One thing I noticed that I must confess was just had a lot of impact on me was going back to that lady. What's her name again? The last lady we had. That's it. Yeah, that's right. For me, I think she had the most impact. She had the most impact on me because I saw a lady who does not only know who she is in Christ, but she's very secure in who she is in Christ. That's the first thing I noticed. The second thing I noticed with her is, for her, this is not about just training people and bringing up leaders. This is about her making sure people fulfill destiny, teaching them, growing them up to be leaders so they can impact their own nations and their own communities. And she's eager to release them back into the field. We, in the West, we have a church mentality whereby you're trained to gather members, not disciples. That's what the Western church is designed to do, to create more members, but not disciples. We think we're discipling people by counseling people, but we're not discipling people, we're just creating more members. That's why we have a lot of conflict in churches, whereby this person's not happy with this, not happy with that, because all your energy, all your talents is busy used to complain and attack each other when you should be using your talents out there.
Is there anything we could do, or I could do, or we all could do, to actually share this model with the rest of the body of Christ, with the rest of the church?
Yeah, definitely.
Do we really need? Maybe we should write. Maybe I should turn it into a. Maybe we should, I would not do it, but maybe one of you will be interested, or somehow, maybe somebody out there anywhere will be interested to come and investigate it and put it together like a textbook or like a manual and let the church know the whole process of doing church differently. But the person has to know how the classical churches in the West are done, and what are the things that are different here, what you have all noticed, and then show the whole world out there that, hey, there's a better way of doing this.
Yeah. I think definitely writing books is one way of doing it, but I think another powerful platform to use would be webinars.
Is what?
Webinars, like an online platforms where
we're doing webinars.
You can do.
They are doing it in Russia. Like I don't do anything anymore.
Oh, well, maybe one of the team could do web. No. Yeah, definitely. I'm not for that.
Talking about our people from here.
From here, yeah. So, for example, someone from here, maybe you got Ego, you got the rest of them. They could host a webinar.
Webinars, okay.
So that way,
webinars.
For example, what you did today, the training you did, you can just do it online, and have a lot of people, 1,000 people register and watch it online, easily from the comfort of their homes, without traveling to.
I can do some if you want.
Yeah, so that'll be very easy.
Well, that's what you were talking about.
And then you get people coming here, buying plane tickets to come here for further training, just from the webinar alone.
It's very common in business.
Yeah.
Do webinars first of all to mobilize people for the nice training here. But Pastor wanted to say something. Okay.
And also, one thing I observe here is the spirit of sacrifice. That people are ready to use their own money to advance the kingdom of God if need be. From every speaker that taught us here, I see that they're ready to sacrifice. Yes, they're ready to sacrifice things, family sometimes, just to drive the vision. And another thing I saw was that everybody is like...
that is not by accident, you know that.
No, of course, definitely.
Because if you go to the next church down the street, they don't have it. So it depends on what you created into people.
Yeah.
What you stimulated in them. Only what you put in people will come out of them.
Yes.
What you don't put in them will never come out of them.
Yes. Then I also saw that people they find themselves in the vision of the church. Like I know one of the speakers was talking about 5 million, reaching 5 million people, and she said she was going to plant about 1,000 churches. So I was like, wow. So they see themselves in the vision, they know their place in the vision, and they are running with the vision. Then I saw an atmosphere that is not in the regular church, like in the UK. That is an atmosphere here, an atmosphere of love. That when you come in, you feel loved in the environment. That's why most people are saying they want to stay back, and when I hear say she wants to stay back, that I don't want to go back to the UK, I understand. Because there's an atmosphere that even when I was calling from the UK, when I speak to Oga, there's this heart to make a way that when I was even coming, she was ready to just, okay, I was going to send this document to you. There was just this thing that you feel like you want to come back again. And I'm saying, when I go, I'm going to bring some people to come back here to get trained, because this is a different church. I should be frank, I'm in Redeem, but I'm saying a concept that most of the churches are inward. This church is just outside. Everything I've been watching on the YouTube, I'm just seeing it, and I said I want to see with my eyes, and I just feel it's just different. It's different.
So you say you are seeing a different church. But I want you to expand more on that. People won't understand what you are saying. They want to go ahead, but I want to hear more. What do you mean?
In the
Church of the Lord Jesus Christ?
It's the Church of the Lord Jesus Christ, but in the UK we do evangelism, and that's more of it. But I see people, the way this church reach out is different.
But we don't do evangelism here in this.
No, it's not evangelism. I won't call it.
We only release people to the
releasing of people. Yes, the releasing of people.
Calling to their
exactly
fruits, to their area of calling, to their land of calling spheres. So everybody just operate in their own territories.
Yeah. From when I've forgotten the name of that pastor, when he defined nations, you just saw where the church is missing it in the UK. That people are just looking at different, even the big churches are not doing it that way. And I just see where the church is missing, that there's so much to learn from here.
Is it because we are so far away from the Western world that most people are not aware of what's going on here? Or they are aware, they just don't know how to get us, or what?
I would say it's a lot of, you'd be ignorance, I would say there's a lot of ignorance, and there's a lot of things to learn from here, because I'll say it's ignorance, I'll say, because...
What I'm saying is, people are ignorant of what's going on here, you mean?
The way this church operates, people are ignorant of that way, and people, yes, they're not exposed to it. Because for me, I'd already called some people in UK, and I said, we've not started. And now just because I see the way the church operates, and I said, we've not started at all. Because the church there, we are not making impact the way we could make. This church is impacting the nation. Yeah.
No, but you didn't get my question. My question is, if you just made a statement that the church worldwide and the UK have a lot to learn from this church here, because it's totally different. And you had just said you are from a global church, redeemed. I don't know if you listen to my message.
I do.
I told them they can single-handedly.
I listened to it, yes.
If they would adopt, you heard it? Yes. Okay, if they would adopt the concept I thought all of them would rather come to want to learn. But I sense a form of self-satisfaction.
Yeah.
I think people kind of want to be, I sense it, maybe I was wrong, but I thought that just the fact that they are redeemed and they belong to that family, that kind of gives them, in my opinion, the fact that, as if we are okay or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, something similar to that. So, but that's what I'm asking you. What, if you have been here now, and you say, that's your statement, there are so much the church could learn from what's going on. So what is there a barrier where I have put up, or all of us, or this church has put out there, that is not making them to be able to come and get it?
Yeah, I say we are satisfied. Many number of people are satisfied, and some is pride. I'll say some is pride, and I'll say because of the system in the church, I'll say some people are a bit proud.
But maybe they've not heard of us.
Many people, I would say most pastors in the UK know about God Embassy. Most pastors, at least, because
they've heard.
Of course, Pastor Agu talks about it, and yes, yes.
90% no.
On YouTube,
90% no.
They know. I would say they know. They know.
You're talking of Nigerian churches?
No, I'm talking about like
everybody.
Redeem I know in the UK, for example. I know most people. Pastor Agu have talked about what he saw here, and.
But Pastor, you are only talking about redeemed.
I'm talking about Redeem I know.
So you are not talking about pastors generally.
No, what I've seen in the UK for myself, I would say it's pastors generally.
So they know.
They know. Many churches know.
But they don't just know something is different. I think maybe they are thinking it is the same thing like Hillsong or any other church.
The problem is they know exactly what you're doing, and they know 100% what you're doing. They believe it works, but they don't believe it works for them. Yes. They don't believe it works for them. And second of all, there's something that you do that the church in the UK are not ready to do, and that's one thing is this. They're not willing to inconvenience themselves. That's it. That's the bottom line.
That's it. In the pastor too, not many people want to release church the way you're doing. I just believe it's your heart. It's your heart, sir. You have a different spirit. I'll just say that.
Yeah. Well, Pastor, what I think about it, I don't really think they know. They think they know, honestly. They don't know. Because when they hear your story, they think about it as the same kind of success story with other churches, with other movements. So they think they know, but they don't know. That's the truth of the matter. Even me, listening to pastor's message and coming here, I have listened to pastor's message. But when I came here, I'm even confused about ministry again. I think I'm trying to, when I go back, I have to sit down and really think about ministry. What is ministry for me? Because there is an idea I've had. So these men, when they hear about what is happening in Ukraine, they have an idea, like a success story of a church or of an organization. That's just the idea. So they don't really know. When you come here, you will find out you don't know. They don't know.
So, and I've heard.
Do you think you are coming from the US?
Yes, sir.
You think people there have heard about Embassy of God as well?
Yeah, people they know about Embassy of God, and they know about you. They've read. Exactly. They know about mentorship, but when it comes to the dynamics, for example, in Embassy of God, when I came here, you just discover that all the people who have spoken to us, including you, are interested. They see the people as the project.
Yes.
But but the regular idea.
Not growth, not success, not members, no.
Just get members.
Yeah, but the traditional mindset sees the ministry.
Just got members.
Yeah, they see the ministry, the organization as the goal. They see the organization as the project. So if the organization called church with a certain name is expanding, people are hearing about them, the fame, then it's successful. But here, people...
Not the individual.
Not the individual is not... just nothing about the individual. But here, the individual... Every other thing is left to building content, quality, to expose the kingdom in the life of the individual. I think this is the major thing I've observed.
So people outside don't really know that?
No, they don't. They think they don't.
Thank you. But I think... I'm sorry, in due respect, I think I disagree with you. The churches in UK, especially the black churches, we know everything that is happening here. We know the truth, but I am a pastor. We are liars. No, let's face it. We are liars. We don't want to release people. We know the truth. We know what Pastor Sunday is doing. I am just a year old in ministry. Where did I don't have money. I scrape myself to come down here. I don't have British passport. I have friends that are pastors that have British passport. They don't need to queue for visa to come to this country. Why are they not here?
No, are you sure they know what you know?
Yes!
No, I want to hear you.
Yes!
How did you know it? What's happening here? How did you hear?
How did I hear about?
Yeah.
I saw your book. I bought Short Shift. I wasn't a pastor when I bought Short Shift. I bought a couple of your books. I wasn't a pastor. I didn't even know that we were going to ministry. But when we talk about you to our so-called pastor, they laugh. They pretend. They don't want to tell us the truth. Even when we want to come, they don't want us to come because they know that our eyes will be open.
What do they laugh about?
Like, for example, when the crisis happened, maybe, you see, maybe it's not honest. Maybe something's up. Though they won't say it straight, but you will know that they are just I give you an example. Someone said, when I was going to Bible college, someone said, to History Maker Bible School in London, someone said, are you aware of what Pastor Sunday is going through? I said, yes, I'm aware. So what does that mean? That's like, don't go. Are you aware? No. Okay, why are we not here? If it's not working.
Or maybe it's the bad news out there that is stopping people.
No, it's not the bad news. It's because we don't want to release people. We know the truth. It's not that we know the truth.
When you were in England, before you came for this program, did you know Pastor Sunday and Embassy of God releases people?
I knew that you build people up. I knew that.
How did you know that?
I watched the videos online, 450,000 or 400 message free of charge. We don't see churches that do that.
You know, sorry sir, I'm not one to interject, but
yes.
I'm so passionate with Jobel that I think I already know it.
Yes.
Did you know that, because you said they know the truth, they know the truth.
Yes.
I will tell you one thing. I was here around the same time Pastor Sunday was here. I've heard about him, and I will tell you the truth that I know, and you can contrast it with yours. Now, when you said he releases people, did you know that those churches were independent when they are released? Be frank with yourself until you came here. Did you know that?
No.
Then you don't know the truth, because that is what people didn't know in England.
No. Pastor Sunday has one thing. He builds people up.
I asked a question, sir.
Yes.
Did you know that when he builds them up and they are released, the churches are de facto independent or not?
I don't know that.
Then you don't know the whole truth even before coming here. And so you have to give those guys too the benefit of doubt.
I don't have to know the whole truth before I come.
Pastor Sunday builds people up.
There are testimony on the internet. There are testimonies. There are videos, messages on YouTube. We read books of people. Even the church members.
Did you see that on YouTube?
Yeah, we see testimony. I saw your book on YouTube.
Even though you are, most of the time you are related to the public pastors and the US, or it's very easy.
Yeah?
Yeah, sure.
No, he said it already.
Sorry, yeah, sure. Pastor Boy, you have to forgive me 1 second, right? I think I see where you're coming from with that, and I see where he's coming from. But I believe, let's go with the idea that they don't know about the church growth, duplication, all that kind of stuff. Fair enough. I don't think they know that. I don't think they know that. I agree with you. But I also agree with him in terms of everybody likes success. Let's be frank about it. Everybody's interested in success, right? So, and we know the method in England is forget about discipleship. We preach it, but that's not where our heart is. You just get the members. In fact, get professional members. That's the mentality. It's true. Professional members mean more money for the church. Let's be honest about it. Yeah? Get doctors, get lawyers, high paying, 100 grand a year, 200 grand a year, more tights. 10% of 100,000 pounds, you can do the maths.
You know that we go for that one now, people here? They might not know that.
They know that you've got a method that works. That much they know. But the question you've got to ask yourself is this. Let's say you're in a business and you want to grow your business. Would you go to somebody with a successful business? So the question here is this. If that's the case and you have a church and you're interested in getting more members, forget about discipleship for now. More members. Why? Because you want more tithes and offerings. Why won't you even inquire? Let me find out what this man is doing so I can get more members and get more tithes. In other words, get more profit. Right? Let me find out what this man is doing. Like, you made a very important statement. You said you don't have a British passport, right? Am I correct? Wow. But they've got British passport. What would it cost? How much did it cost me to come here? 100 and something pounds? So why don't you come here and inquire, what is this man doing? They're not doing that. That tells me...
Well, to the credit of some of them, though... No, wait. To the credit of some, like a pastor, the pastor of the Glory House, and then he ran into problems sometimes. Later on in London, is it Glory House they call it? He used to be a famous guy in London. Yes. Odulele or something? Yeah, Albert Odulele. Okay, he ran into me in Florida. Yeah, and he used to be a big pastor in England. At that point, I was speaking at the conference, and Bishop Oyedepo was also speaking at that conference. So we were co-speakers. And then this Odulele guy came with Bishop Oyedepo because he knew him, or maybe it's his son. So, but then he ran into me and said, wow, thank God I met you. I've been trying to look for people who know you, through whom I could get to you. I don't know where that mentality is coming from, but I try to look for people who know you so that who could connect me with you. So I'm saying, why do you need to do that? Other people are coming here, just going to the website, or just going to internet, or find the telephone and call, or just write email. Why do you need to know people to connect me to you, or before you come? I don't understand that.
My opinion is basically two things. Number one, church system. Number two, maybe just make conversation. Because maybe that's a way of just breaking the ice and building a rapport with you. Oh, yeah, I've been trying to get hold of... Come on, go to the website. That's the first place anybody goes. So you want to buy something online, you go on Amazon. So that's not an issue. So, but the fact remains, I think they what's the word? They know they can come over here to learn from you. Because if they want the same results as you, they need to come and learn from you. But why aren't they doing that? That is the question. So I don't think for a second that they're not really aware of what's going on. They are. But that is what's stopping them from doing it. Sorry.
There are so many number of reasons, and if you may look at it this way, let's look at the Western European side, let's look at the individual, and let's look at Pastor Sunday's organization. And I think that might give us a perspective. I like to be sort of methodical. Now, we heard that everybody knows Pastor Sunday releases people. the churches in UK, the churches in Nigeria, ultimately release people as well. It is the content of the release that is important. When I release you and I tell you whatever you make, you have to send 10% to me, I control your sermon. That is why I see where your question was coming from. And everybody is laughing. You've asked the same question to 3 speakers 3 times. I won't go into that question. You can discuss it with Pastor Sunday. But you all know where I'm coming from. It has a tight regulation. Now, all I knew about Pastor Sunday is that is this wonderful guy in Ukraine that is running the biggest church. And that is why I say most people did not know. People see the product. If you have your laptop, whether it is Sony, whether it is Lenovo, whether it is Samsung, you have a laptop, but you don't know the process that went into doing it.
Because, for example, Pastor Gray, he said he was supposed to have been here 4 years ago. And he says the greatest regret of his life was that it took him 4 years. He said the time he wanted to come, he wanted to take advice from some people. So other people advised him against, well, don't, you know. So he said, even though he still wanted to come, but he was careful, you know, about what, then we had all this news going on and all this scandal. And so he said, but it's the greatest regret of his life.
Yes, sir.
So he didn't know what to say.
Yes, sir. Britain has a policy of what they call pull them down syndrome. If you look at politicians, they are your friend. When one politician falls, they will say they support him. By the time the information is out, what is done wrong, everybody goes away. So the fact that the court case happened played into the hands of some people to say, we've been saying it. It's a natural human thing that is probably common to us using things, but that is not the fact that they don't know. That gave them an ammunition. Excuse. But that was not the problem ab initio. The problem ab initio was they saw a large church. A lot of them explained it different ways. Some people said, oh, Ukraine was virgin land. They had no religion anyway. So it was just there at the right time, at the right moment. So they never thought what you did was different. So when they look at it, they now look at the like of TDJs and everything, they go. So that's why I said we look at the sector. Now, the individual thing amongst some of the pastors, pride. We've dealt with that. The other thing is, on the side of God Embassy, this might be a criticism, but there is a phrase that if you have a good product and you shout down a well, the person with a bad product that is on a treetop will sell better than you.
Yes.
I hope. Yes.
Because we are not on TBN, we are not on Christian television, we are not.
You've just said it all, sir. That is the meaning of my phrase.
I have to be honest, when I never knew about you. And when I first found out was through Pastor Great, and he was sharing one of your books, because he was doing a series on money. I don't remember exactly. And I thought you were just another prosperity gospel preacher, and I had a hard time because he was trying to get us to read this book, and I'm like, I don't want to read a prosperity. I'm not really interested. And I remember picking up the book, and I read the first page, and I'm like, okay. Second page, okay. And I kept reading, and I'm like, this guy's different. He's different than even my pastor. He's different. He reminds me. And I read the whole book, and then I had to go look at you online, and I heard you preaching. I'm like, and when I heard you the first time, you broke me. I don't know if you could see through Skype, but I was crying. I was drinking my tears. I could not believe what I was hearing. My ears could not believe. My heart could not believe what it was feeling. It was such a
fresh bread.
Yeah, I just could not believe it because I wasn't hearing that. But at the first initial, it's like a lot of other denominations give a bad reputation to perhaps a ministry that are really, really seeking God and wanting the kingdom of God to be all over the earth. And a lot of denominations put a stigma up for other people. And I was victim of that. But at least I opened the book and I read it to myself, and I realized it was not like that. But yeah.
Just want to add that
he started it, that the church has a lot to learn from what's happening here. So bear that. You are from Canada.
Yes. Well, I guess the way I knew about you was just through internet, I guess, because I was following another pastor in France. And then, as I said, it's a connection. There's a report. Yeah, I do. So there's a report on this man of God I knew on a French TV. I don't know if you remember the daily report on you, saying that you were affecting, your community in the different area. That was the very first time. I think it was 2012. I heard about you, and after that, it led me to listen to Revelation TV. You did a YouTube series with them. They put it on YouTube. And it's really Revelation in the UK. And then, as I've heard you and talking about bodyguard, you don't need that, and you give a little bit of your testimony. I'm like, wow, this guy is different. And I was like, wow, like I like what he's saying, but that was it. Like for 2 years, I just didn't pay attention. It's later on, just to point out the fact that if you want to come here, you have to really look for it, because once I went back. Actually, the funny story is that they had a Ukrainian festival next to my house, because we have a green space. It's like in Mount Condo, so they have a green space when kind of like different culture come and do like a festival. Then they had a Ukrainian presentation, and when I saw it, I remember I thought about you because I was going through my crisis, and then I went to look for your message, and that's why I started hearing about Church Shift's website and listening to your message and so. So and then I have to go to the website. So meaning just to point out that you really have to look for it if you want to find, So it's not that people.
It's not like we put on TV every day. You see, what he was trying to say. Sell your product.
Exactly.
It's not like when you put on the TV, you see Revlon Dollar. Praying something.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Joseph Prince, or Joyce Meyer.
Yeah.
You see, sir, they say out of sight is out of mind. No matter how good it is, and I think everybody here cannot in any way doubt how wonderful it is. But if you bombard it by other information, the one that is in your brain before just goes a little bit, which is what happened. He said after a few years, he'd forgotten. So, God Embassy is not shouting enough.
Yeah. Maybe you can go channel problem.
Yeah. So this is what happened. So, but to say in general in Canada, because what happened is that because when I was looking at Embassy of God, there's an Embassy of God. I think your friend Pastor Snyder, Pastor Derek Favre. So I actually when I typed the name of your church, Embassy of God, their website came first because I guess depending on the location, because I was in Canada. So I click on it and look at the website, and I was like, no, this is not the same church. That's not Pastor. So I thought that it was a sister, daughter church. So I was looking to see your picture in the website saying that you sponsor the show or something like that. But I didn't see anything. So I actually paid a trip going to Oshawa, which is about 1 hour away from where I stay, to go a Sunday at the church. And I met Pastor Snyder. I was looking for Derek, but I didn't meet him because he has left the church and started his own HMT. So I was looking at that and trying to get in contact with him. And after I say, let me just try to go directly, get in contact with you, and then come to Ukraine and get the training in here. So just to point out that it takes work. It's like you really want it to come here. And in Canada in general, when I told my pastors that I was leaving, some Nigerian, because they have a lot of, although the senior pastor is Jamaican, but there's a lot of Nigerian in as an associate pastor. So some of them knew about you, but that was it. Oh, you're going to Sunday at Adelaja church, but that was it. So they didn't really, take time to ask what you're going to do there. They didn't have. I don't know if it's just they knew about you. Some Nigerians knew about you, but that stopped there. So people were just they didn't know exactly what was I going to do, and I guess. And in general in Canada, I knew you went there a couple of times, but I don't think people know about church embassy like that. And then in the U.S., when I went there, I was speaking to a bishop, which is a friend of our family, and he's like a father to my wife. And he said, oh, the HMT is something for the pastors, but if as you go, I'm sure you're going to get something for yourself. But he knows about you. He said, oh, you have a couple of ministry here, but I think they're comfortable where they are. You know, they're comfortable. Yeah, they're comfort. So they don't want to, you know, try to find out what's going on there. You know? Exactly. So
there is the normal system that men of God, there is a way they look like. So it's difficult to see a man of your caliber interact with the people. So, for example, if you think about Bishop David Oyedepo, you cannot just buy a ticket that you want to go to Nigeria to see Bishop David Oyedepo. If you think
so
about
that concept of how other churches might also be influencing some, that they might not have easy access.
Yeah, so
that's the first night we came, when they told me that Pastor Sunday is having a meeting with foreign delegates, I was like, wow. So I'm seeing this night because normally it would be very hard. You don't see Pastor. Of course, that's one thing. You don't see them.
So
they're not anointed enough.
Even the pastor that was saying he was praying to this, I guess he would have been thinking.
That's why he has to be.
It's not going to be accessible like that.
So that day I spoke with you on the phone. My friend said, "What do you mean? Can you be speaking to pastor?" I said, "I just spoke." He said, "What do you mean?" What's the serious? So there's a mentality there. And then the second thing is this: a lot of them are afraid. Even ordinary we within.
A lot of them are afraid. Beside the mentality of a great man of God, you can't just reach him. They are afraid. You see, the truth is, this ordinary discussion we have with telling them that you are not supposed to be sitting all the time in the church. Go out and do something to change the society. They are feeling threatened. Now, talk of meeting you that when you break the iceberg, they will discover that there is liquid water under. So, a lot of these pastors know that to give you their pulpit or to allow their members to listen to you, make them loose. So when I'm hearing people saying all these things, the truth is that it's deception.
So we are liars, isn't it?
See, it's true. The truth about it is that there is. You see, the issue is that we've created an institution. We've created an empire. And it's not easy to allow another king come in like that. What you have, when you bring it in, the system they have will collapse. But you see, like I said in the morning when Anton spoke with us, I said something about there is a structure here that can transform the society, the whole world. And we have equally placed a perverted system. We perverted the real one. There is an opposite. You see, this one works from the church to outside. The other one is bring and gather inside the church. So if they allow their congregation, or if we are humble enough as ministers to come, I use the word humble. If we are humble enough as ministers to come and sit down and then discuss with you, you will change something in us. It means we've lost our authority as the one in charge of our empire. So it's disturbing them. You know, when I tell them, I met with you 2005, and that you blessed me, you told me this, you say this, it's like, what's wrong with you? You've been there in ministry a long time. And then what? I learned from you. So many of them are afraid. If you give this man this opportunity, he will scatter what we built over the years. So you see, but they will try to use a cliche. You say some things to, that's one of the things. Then the next thing is that since we discovered that is a strategy of controlling the people, I normally use the word, is a controlling system. It's a witchcraft system. I'm saying this with bold. It's a witchcraft system because on Monday, Bible study, Tuesday, children's fellowship, Wednesday, men's fellowship, Thursday, women's fellowship, Friday, night vigil, Saturday, breakthrough, Sunday, breakdown. That's what they do. You know? See? And, okay, as this pastor is doing it this week, for fear that he will take his congregation, he will start his own. He will start his own. So you see, they are manipulating the people. They will tell you, they use cliche to manipulate the people. This is November. November is the month of breakthrough. Then you walk towards it. Everybody's walking towards it. Then December is the month of jumping through. And everybody's walking. You see? So now they are using this thing to keep the people stagnated and be collecting their money. So if they allow them to listen to you, something will snap in them. So they try to use every excuse to just, we feel comfortable in our comfort zone. But I think you need to do something for us, sir. That thing is, I know you don't like advertisement. None of you here like advertisement. For instance, you are different. The impression that was created at the airport, I hardly get angry. We've been married for 23 years. I've been in Makurdi 30 years. It was this year I was going to get angry for the first time. So but when I got to the embassy, I was so vexed and angry, especially when the customer told my wife, you need water, there's nowhere to buy water. Let her go to the toilet and get water to drink. I sat down in that place and I was going to say something. I was very angry. And I said, I'll go to external affairs and I will make this known. And I'm going to do it anyway, but not in anger again. But as soon as I saw Olga and Igor, they just messed me up. I could see a contrast. It means some people the other side have.
What you felt, that's the way all countries, apart from those ones that have been touched and changed. Otherwise, everybody else is like those people are better than the embassy.
Okay, so that shows what I'm trying to say is that the way I met your people told me that don't worry, you met a different set of these are different set of, so because of that, I'm okay. But that means you are not about advertisement about anything, we know that. But you need to help the church of Jesus Christ by doing something that will cause this name to be heard. This assignment to get out. Like get on the net, like, once in a while I watch you on some channels. But if there could be, this mentorship online is good, but I think you can go further by getting other programs. TV programs, yes. A lot of, like in my place, if you just mention Sunday Adelaja, you say, oh, that's your friend, that's your pastor. Now, a lot of them have heard, but they won't lay their congregation. So get on the TV, people can use their phone. By the time they watch you 3 times, the news, we need to get out now. We just need to try our best.
One of the reasons why I've not been keen on doing TV is that, first of all, most of our congregation, the life of the congregation is in Russian language. What people would not even know what was happening. Even when we sing, it's different. So that's one thing. Secondly, to go and preach, I don't want to do that because everybody else is preaching. People will think he's just a preacher, it's a preaching thing. I want transformation. I don't want just to have depression. I just don't want to, if I'm able to show something how, like what we're discussing now, or how people's lives are being transformed and changed, I would rather prefer that.
Good. Then do that, sir. Do that. Something. Let's have what you're doing systematized in a sequence. Take this part. It's like it's a teaching now, because you are a teaching priest. The wild beast is devouring the church because there are no teaching priests. You are a teaching priest. So we need the ABC of how to get these things done. Now, if you can systematize that, all right? This time, maybe for the next 3 months, we follow this part, we get it done. You see, every human being is curious about the next thing that will bring help. And we are all suffering. So the moment you see that systematized program for the next 3 months, maybe January to March, you follow this teaching, a lot of people begin to key in, and before you understand, they will bombard this place with a lot of visitation. Thank you.
Another thing I want to say quickly, sorry. You mentioned you don't like preaching on TV, but that is one platform that has been utilized heavily in the Western society today. And that's why we know people like Creflo Dollar, T.D. Jakes, and all the rest of them. And don't get me wrong, it's good preaching, but that's what it is, just good preaching. But from what we've seen here, lives have been transformed, which is that's what it's about. So I would say, as an idea, this is what you could do if you're going to go online. You can just basically have like two things, basically. One is a documentary of what we've seen. Like we went to the rehab center, we're going to the refuge tomorrow, perhaps, and the people could tell their story of how they came to the church, they heard a teaching, they met people, they were developed, and now this is their life. That's one. Second of all, people like Creflo Dollar, TDJ, they've got their own show now. What's it called? Creflo Dollar's one is Love World or something to do with this is your world change. No, that's his church. This is your world. And what does he do? Just sit down in front of somebody. Oh, once upon a time I wanted to kill myself. This happened, that happened. And no preaching at all. Just pretty much kind of using his name to influence people with, look, things can get better. No preaching. And there's loads of people watching this program. Loads. So if you do something similar like that, but it's more like a documentary, like just telling people this is what happened, and they're speaking for themselves, not necessarily you. You might do the introduction, but they're speaking for themselves. This is what happened to me. How did it happen? I came to Church of Embassy Church, and this is what happened. I heard the teaching, and this is what my life turned out to be. I used to be a drug addict. Now I run 10 centers. Your names are going to go like that.
At the end of it, somebody just says something about this, I believe, and something like that.
Yeah, thank you, Pastor. What I think of it is this. For example, some of our teachers, they taught us, like one person asked, okay, what you're teaching us today, if we do it with a webinar, I think you asked that question, how effective will it be? He said, no, if you do a webinar, there are certain things that will not come across in a webinar. You know, the atmosphere, you know, the passion. You can only get a very faint feel of that. But now, when you are in the presence of the people, you are feeling all that. For example, all of us have listened to pastors' messages before we came here. But our experience here is different. I mean, to be sincere, let's say if we listen to 50 of pastors' messages, what one experience, encounter we had here did for us, those messages won't do that. Because we are getting more of the person, we are getting more of the atmosphere, we are seeing the passion, we are seeing a lot of things are coming true. So what I'm trying to say is this, that the television is good, it has its place. Every one of the things we are talking about, they all have their place. But I think that the system is already in place. Like if what Pastor is doing, maybe maybe one of the other things that need to be done is to expand the capacity of the system. For example, what is happening here today, if it's taken down to Nigeria, okay, and people come and have this training, because people will always come. I see. People will always come. For example, the Azusa Street Revival, when it started, people traveled from all nations. And remember, you only change a nation with hungry people. So it's not about people seeing him on TV who are not hungry, who is not really impacting. So the right people, the Bible talks about the kingdom of God with the principle of the yeast principle. So the few people who are hungry, for example, the teachers we've had today, we've been having since we came, with them alone, without even pastor appearing in a set, the nation has crumbled. The only thing that needs to be done is probably to expand the capacity of what we are seeing today. For example, we have all been taught. But beyond us being taught, one of the things we are going to be armed with, I believe, that will help us, is to go back with this material to listen to. Now, apart from the material of this experience, I observed that they have a system they function with. I think if we have the material about that system written down.
Ladies, I think you should give them the follow-up program before they go. Follow-up. Then give them also, maybe they could buy it, or you give them for free if you can. I don't know how you have. A lot of other HMTs that have taken place.
Yeah.
Not just this one.
Yeah.
So
when we are armed with these materials, for example, when we went to the rehabilitation center, they told us about different stages. Now, in those stages, I believe there are specific things they teach them. Now, we did not get the specifics. Yeah. We just know that there were stages. You understand? Now, when they arm us with stuff like that, now we've had the experience. We have the video going with the video. Now, we have these other steps. We have the system now. When we go and brood on it with the experience we have, I think we will start making the same impact And now think about when every other person is doing that. I think that would be more effective. More effective than any other thing. So, but the television, all of them have their place. But if you want to take the whole energy on that platform, I don't think it's going to be.
I was just saying to Delma that all the media is fantastic, but what about the people in this room? Like, if we've all been changed and transformed, then the word of our mouth going back, I know for a fact, I know about 20 people that I can tell to come here and come and sit and do this training. So it's all good using TV, radio, you know, whatever, but why don't we use ourselves? If the change is real, people will see that it's real, and then people want to know where we've been and where we've gone, and then they'll come here themselves and better themselves. Now, I'm not disputing that TV and the internet, they're fantastic medias to use, but why don't we use what we have for free, like us? I know I can go home. I was on the phone to my mum. I told my mum's like, okay, I'm going to go next year. That's one person, done. She's a believer, one person, done. My dad, that's two. There's so many people that we know at church, because it happened. That's what Pastor Great did. Pastor Great came here, he witnessed everything, he came back, he told everybody else, and he had HMT at our church. Then we had Chris and everybody come here again. Then we're like the third lot that have come here again, and then that's already like 25 people that have been affected. So those 25 people will then go affect another 25 people each. Amen. And then again and again. So you can use all that, but just use yourself. That's what I think.
I just want to quickly expand on one thing. You see, there's something we've learned here today that I don't want us to ignore or forget. And that's something we've learned here today that I don't want us to forget. Number one, you're absolutely 100% right. You know, we can do that. That's why we're here. We've learned the system and all of that. And you're right as well by saying you can't substitute the real life experience for an online platform. That's true as well. However, let's not forget we live in a technology age. Okay, that alone is a nation. We've learned what nation looks like. Okay, so let's not forget that. There are people that would only attend services online. They exist. There are people who will go to church via God channel. They exist. That's a nation. So I'm not saying you should pack up the system and just focus on TV or radio. It's integrated into the system.
All of them.
That's what I'm saying. That's pretty much what it is.
So, what about, what will you think? Will you agree that we have a tangible, maybe significant presence on Facebook? Or you didn't notice that?
I didn't notice that
at all.
Not once, dude. I didn't even notice. The only time I noticed was someone posted something about your book. But then I already knew about you. Then the kingdom.
Otherwise, you never.
If not, no, I wouldn't. Facebook presence is not strong now.
Okay. Anybody notice anything about Facebook? No.
Yeah, mentorship program that I
No, that's different. That's a mentorship program.
Okay.
But Facebook, none of you has never.
I just know that during the elections, I know I saw some materials from Facebook, but not so. I don't think it went out too much.
Sorry, Pastor, I want to be sure what you're talking about. Are you talking about, please, can you rephrase what you're talking about?
I'm saying, do you notice Pastor Sunday's ministry or Sunday Adelaja or anything from Kyiv or Embassy of God on Facebook? Is it?
Yes, a lot.
But otherwise, no.
Yeah, that brings something to my mind. You know, like I just talked about the people that have been talking to us, and you have been telling us, and we have seen how the experiences is all powerful and it can really bring transformation. Now, I think that will go a long way in the media, like a long way, if those experiences, we have like kind of interview like Sid Roth, the kind of things Sid Roth does. People talk about the experiences with graphics like that, acting, you know, to portray the experience. I think that would be a very, very much powerful tool to go with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So you mean all our people, right?
Yeah, the people.
Okay.
And also what I think the other people, the one that you have trained, needs to be exposed to, like those ones that we have seen.
Yes.
Like everyone, you know, starting from Dasha Mom and the other, they need to have a platform also, because also those.
That's what we do here. They all have it here, but they don't speak English, most of them.
Yeah. So,
But Pastor, there's also a Russian world, which I mean,
Russian,
understand that there could be an English overlay this day that you can do, and just have English overlay over Russian. But even if they just speak Russian, there's a whole Russian world that they actually will hear them anyway. So.
Okay.
Yeah. I think
Sorry?
Character generating machine can be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I suggest what he said about documentary. Like this is a nation, this session, the beginning, everybody's coming from different area. It can make a perfect documentary, maybe 3 videos, about 1 hour each, can be produced from the whole of this program. And we live in a time where, why do people watch documentary? Why do we go to look for documentary? Because we want to get something. We want to know how it began, what's happened, and so on. So with the documentary, it will be a very, very vital tool that we pass across important information compared to just a message that is being preached. Okay. If all the sessions are being cut off and given like a message, then it wouldn't be chance. It wouldn't actually go across. But if the documentary had really produced a documentary from this, and all the people came in, like we can see how they came in normally and so on, the messages, everything that was being taught, and somebody reports on this and what it is used for, and they can see it. Then at the end of it, they came in, like most of us that came in here,
we have it in Russian language, but just to have them
in English. So at the end, these testimonies that people live have been impacted, like they will discuss about
we have all that in
change,
Russian.
Change a lot.
Yeah, just not in English. Okay.
Maybe we could do English overlay or subtitles on those.
People will naturally still watch it compared to people want to hear it directly in English. If you put transcript, nobody will actually watch it.
Sure. I'm coming probably from the business world perspective here and maybe a little bit secular, but I can hear everybody. And one thing I think we all agree about is Embassy of God could market itself more and create awareness, if I'm correct, because it seems there's a common trend to that more visibility means more people are aware, more people want to come on the course. But as you can see, our collection here already reveals the diversity of access for advertisement. For somebody, Facebook seems reasonable. For another person, documentary. For a third person, and I'm talking from my business experience now. When we started our business the first year, we did what seemed right, what everybody said, oh, I like to listen to radio. Then you do radio to realize it's not everybody that listens to that channel. We've sown a seed that advertisement and marketing, I don't want to use the word advertisement, public relation is more necessary. It will be ideal. I think God Embassy has enough staff, we've seen capable hands, to go back to the drawing table, look at all the channels of advertisement possible, and come up with a plan. PR is not something you do off the cuff. You need to have a plan and know what, properly researched, so that you know what works well for you. We can't just say documentary, this, that. It's all lovely, but it shows where everybody's idea of where he gets information from. It may not reflect what would actually be out there. So if we could just, we can go round and round, but if we could just leave it as more advert, more PR is necessary, and let the in-house team do the rest of working at what is best for them.
Excellent. Thank you. So, what's the program like tomorrow?
From 9 to 10 you have breakfast. At 11 you leave for the refugee camp, and you'll have meeting with Pastor Andre. Then we leave for the foster house.
Okay, and you come back. Then I have a meeting with you.
We just had an idea about making a short video interviews about
Everybody.
testimonies. Yeah. So
That's a good thing.
yeah, we wanted to make a short video so you can prepare.
Maybe we do that from the morning,
Well, we will have 1 hour, so we will interview half of the people.
because some of them are going. That's what I
Only
heard.
actually, Pastor Boy is
So,
leaving tomorrow.
so you do it with them, those who are leaving. You make sure that those get it first.
Okay.
You do the interview with us. Maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow.
We want to have the good flight and good backstage.
Yeah, but you can still do that at good weather, good territory. We still have the rain. You can still do some of that. Because if people are leaving, it's better for you to do something rather than not to do anything. Anyway, because I just want to make sure that I give them the classes they ask for, how to keep this. But if you want, maybe we'll just give you the slides. If you want, we could just give you the slides. So you can class.
We won't both.
Sounds fine, but I think
We won't both.
they don't know what if.
I will only be able to do that in the evening, tomorrow evening.
That would be great.
Yeah, he will get it. If all these people get it, they will show you. Okay, thank you. Pastor Gray. That are you far from the computer, or your sound is not very nice?
I'm actually driving on the motorway, sir.
Oh, I don't know if I want to talk to you as you are driving on the motorway.
I've got the speaker on.
Ah, okay. Well, I just thought that one of your people here made a very profound and brilliant statement.
Oh my gosh.
And that statement is God speaking to you and speaking to every pastor in the UK. And I want you to hear it as the voice of God. As, what's your name again?
Tashan.
Tashan. Yeah. As Tashan was speaking, she made a statement that the way the situation is in the UK right now, how did she put it? There is no, how do you say? There is no
hope. There's no hope. There's no hope.
For what?
For the younger generation in the UK.
No, that's not the way you say it.
No.
How did she say it? How did she say it?
There is no hope in UK.
Yeah, in UK. She said in UK. There is no, what do you say?
There's no hope in the UK.
Why did you say that?
Because there's no one that shows the people love. There's no one that shows people what their purpose is, what their destinies are.
You are not talking people in the church.
No, I'm talking people like me.
In the country.
In the country, young girls, young boys. That they're caught in a system where no one actually tells them who they are. No one actually gives them the love that they require, the hope that, there is something more out there apart from benefits and drugs, alcohol, sex, and things like that.
The way you said there's no hope in the UK.
There's no hope in the UK.
Okay. Someone also repeated that and they say, I agree to it. You said it, and you agree with that. That's happening. So everybody else is saying the same thing. Now, what I want you to hear is this, Pastor. What I want you to hear is that is the greatest message from heaven, an indicting message that all pastors in England, in Great Britain must hear. What I want to say to reinforce that message is this. For every pastor and minister in England to be present in that country, and yet for the whole country to have no hope. That is an indictment. Number two, that means you pastors, you don't know what to do to save the country and to rescue the nation. Number three, you pastors must admit it, that you are in trouble, that you are not doing church, at least not the way God wanted you to do it. What you people are doing is anything you want it. Religion, religiosity, anything you want to call it, but not the way God wants church to be done. Whatever you have been doing doesn't work. And you all have to face it. And you're carrying out this duty on behalf of God for all you people who are pastors in England. It's a pity it's not being recorded. But every pastor in England, you need to hear that. If ordinary people from the streets are coming out and saying there is just no hope for the UK. There is no hope in the UK. There is just no hope because there are no ministries like this in Ukraine. Like we have seen in Ukraine. This is what we need. If we could bring this to UK will be the most powerful nation. But right now, the way the country is going and the way churches are doing, everybody are doing their own thing. People are living their own life, which means we need awakening for ministers. I think, Pastor Grace, that you have discovered the gem and the secret, but I think you are right now thinking more about your ministry and about yourself. But we are now talking about the UK. If there is no hope for the UK, and in the UK, it means you must now take it as a challenge upon yourself to bring this message of there is no hope for the UK to all pastors and churches that we are doing something wrong or we are not getting it right. We are missing something. Things are not working. I think we should start a movement that should say there is no hope in the UK or there is no hope for the UK. Maybe for the UK is better. There is no hope for the UK if we don't do something. People in the street don't find hope. People in the pubs don't have hope. People in the girls, young girls giving birth to children, they don't have hope. We say we are here. And we say we have the hope of glory in us. And we say we are his representative. And we say God can do everything. And yet people are crying and committing suicide every day on daily basis, getting pregnant on daily basis, overdosing on drugs on daily basis. And we are saying we are there for their interest. And they are not even aware they are there. We are there. And we are living parallel lives. So there must be a movement of awakening. The churches to be able to refocus the churches into the original mission that the church is supposed to be doing, and to let the church know that, hey, we have been focused on the wrong stuff, we are not doing what we're supposed to be doing. Where we are here, our neighbors and neighborhoods are crying out that there is no hope because they are dying. So something needs to be done. I wanted you to hear that.
Thank you so much, sir.
And let me tell you what I've told your people. I've told your people, tell your pastor when you get back that, Pastor, you are the one who sent us to Ukraine. Oh, now you are in trouble, Pastor. Wait. I tell them, tell them about Pastor, you are in trouble, Pastor, because you sent us here. And now that you have sent us here, we are not going to listen to all the rules, all the protocols, all the things limiting us. We are not going to listen to it. We are going to fix this church. We are going to make sure the church grows. We are going to double the church. And I told them, all of you, put your hand on yourself and say, Pastor, I'm taking responsibility for the choir. The choir will double. I will make sure I multiply. We will never have problem with church growth anymore. Church will grow. We are taking responsibility for it. Just give us the permission. Let's just work. Even if you don't give us the permission, we are going to do it. We are going to double this church.
That's right.
So I told them, go and tell your pastor that one. And if the pastor says, what are you doing? You are creating trouble. Tell the pastor, you set me on fire and I'm just obeying your command. Yes, I'm listening to you now, Pastor Great. Wait. We can't hear you yet. Speak again. Talk again.
After I'm coming to Ukraine myself.
No, you need to go to UK and get them and set fire on them and tell them, I release you. And you have to present them before the church and tell the church, these people have come back from Ukraine, they are on fire now, anything they tell you do, this church must multiply. That's what you need to do. That's what you need to do.
Because I can leave them and just come to Ukraine.
No. before you come, before you come to the Ukraine, you must soften the ground. If you don't come to present them on the church, on the stage, and let them speak to the church, and let the church see that you are giving them free hands. If you don't show that and demonstrate that as the highest authority, the people who don't know your thoughts about that, they will be beating them by the hands. So you need to get them all on stage. You don't preach, let them preach.
Yes.
Yeah. So so that first Sunday, when you come back, your duty is just to present all of them and let all of them release the fire in them on the church. And you just monitor it. You are just the coordinator now. Hello?
It's true.
Yes, because all of them are telling me the stories that you are even forcing them. One of them said, Tashant, said, even if you don't want to go, I will buy your ticket. Anything you need to do. They said they were not ready to go. Even Pastor Boy wanted to come later. He said, no, that you have forced all of them here. Now you must reap the fruit. Yeah. So and now, but what I wanted to say to you and for you to help them manage is that the fruits and the result will not come the way you are expecting it. If you keep the old wineskin, the new wine will not work. So you need to help them to release that new wine by, getting rid of the old wineskin. And the way to do that is to let them know that these people have the free hands. They must cause this church to grow, and they must do everything that's in their heart. And my investment in them must not be in vain. Amen. That's the way to do it. I'm an experienced revolutionary. I'm an old soldier and an old general in doing revolution. So if you want a change, there is never a nice change. There is never a nice revolution. It has to be rough and dirty. So that's why, set the girls loose, set the men loose. Yes, that's the way we do it. Sorry. Come again.
I said they have to come back again with HMT2 with testimony.
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
Yes, before they come back to Ukraine, they must come back with their stories of victories and testimonies and all the new projects they have started.
Amen. Thank you so much.
So you have your hands full now. It will never be boring anymore in your church.
This is the best birthday present Pastor Greg could have asked for.
Sorry?
This is the best present you could have asked for your birthday tomorrow, isn't it?
Yeah.
Birthday tomorrow?
Yeah.
Ah!
We'll say happy birthday for tomorrow, everyone.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Pastor Greg. Happy birthday to you. Hooray!
Thank you so much, everybody. Pray for Pastor Queen. Pastor Queen might have a baby anytime from this hour.
That's great. That's good.
Okay, Pastor, thank you. God bless you. All right. Happy birthday in advance. Blessings. Bye. I always tell people who want to invite me to their churches that you don't really want me to come. They say, oh, come. I said, no, I'm begging you, please don't let me come. They say, oh, come. I said, well, I'm not sure, but if you want me to come, let me tell you what to expect. Your church is either scattered, going to be scattered, or it's going to change. Either one of the two. I am an expert in scattering churches, demolishing it. They are going to demolish it, or they are going to change for the better. Because I'm not going to be talking all the good, nice stuff you people are doing. Going to make things happen. Finish. Either it's going to multiply and explode, or people are just going to get mad and go back home. Yeah, one of the two.
I suppose your job has been a bit easier.
Well, where are the girls? I've spent 4 hours just talking to you and listening to you. I think it's been a nice time. See you tomorrow. But I'm still going to watch soccer tonight at 12 o'clock because Nigeria is going to play. So I'm going to see my wife briefly and I come back to watch soccer. All right. God bless.
Good night. God bless.
World Cup.
Thank you,
I think the concept